Yeah. Turn my mic on, Paulie. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Happy to be here on a Monday morning, a Monday that I was 100% convinced was Sunday when I woke up this morning. So you can imagine my surprise. But, yeah, happy to be here. Today is World Ranger Day, which is weird because this certainly wasn't World Ranger weekend. You swept those hillbillies right out of town. Right out of town. Everybody's beloved Bruce Bochy just fall asleep at the wheel all weekend. What happened, guys? I was told.
Is that your manager?
That's your guy? That's what I was told. We screwed up. Old Sleepy Bob. You see how it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If the players play, you're going to win ball games. And this team played up to its potential this weekend. Very excited on World Ranger Day to come and rub it in their faces, swept their asses out of town. And here we sit this morning. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
He's our executive producer, and then some. To my left is Benjamin Higgins, friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, you've got a different energy on a Monday after a sweep. I don't think we've had a Monday after a Padres sweep all season long.
I know we haven't.
Because the Angels sweep was midweek.
For sure, we have not.
So that definitely has not happened. They had the Mexico series. That was
I'm
Saturday,
not counting
Sunday.
that thing. I am just not
Came
counting
back from
it.
that, but that one doesn't really count. Yeah, this is quite the week here. I mean, quite the week. Think about this. All right, so we've got today coming off the sweep. All kinds of stuff to talk about with the trade deadline tomorrow. We'll be doing the special trade deadline show tomorrow at 2:00 and reacting to whatever happens or doesn't happen. And then we have a show on Friday where we are out and about, get to see the tier ones hopefully join us. We're going to be at AleSmith on Friday morning from 6 to 10. So make your plans now. I'm letting you know early on a Monday morning.
That's right.
That we want to see out there on Friday. Just to be with us. And, it's not that often that we get to be out in the community. So make your plans to join us for a fun Friday morning at AleSmith. Of course, Dodgers will be coming to town at the end of the week. It's been a while with the new schedule. You don't face them as relentlessly as you used to. It's been several months since they've played the Dodgers last. So a big 4-game series coming up. At first, obviously, Colorado Rockies, 3 huge games tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday before you get back home to face the Dodgers.
Yeah, I didn't miss them. I did not miss the Dodgers. I have not missed them at all. In fact, we needed them to handle a little business, and they couldn't even do that. Couldn't even beat the Cincinnati Reds. So Dodgers got smoked yesterday by the Reds. I was watching that scoreboard. I was watching that score on the scoreboard yesterday. I was at the game, and I'm just like, oh, cool, 4-0. Oh, right on, 7-0. I'm like, holy smokes. But listen, all you can do is handle your business, right? And that's what the San Diego Padres did this weekend. Certainly nice to see that. Was at 2 of the games. I had the friend in town. I told you guys about that. My friend Adam came in town with his kids and his buddy and his kid. And
Haywood.
Not that Adam. Different Adam altogether.
I just assume all Adams talk like that.
Hey guys, he hates that, by the way. Our boss Adam hates. He doesn't sound anything like me. I go, really? Are you sure? You sure it doesn't sound, I don't know, exactly like you? After I get out of here, he catches me in the hall at least once a week. Hey man, can you not say D on the air? Sure. Yes, fine. Okay. Get fired up sometimes. You're lucky I don't say worse. Let's just leave it at that. So it's exactly what he sounds like. Great weekend though. I took Bo down Friday, and again with my buddy in town. So game was pushed back to 7:10ish, so they could do the experiences for Jake Peavy.
Yeah, the induction ceremonies. I was there too, which was nice. But yeah, it pushed the start time back about 15, 20 minutes.
Has nobody showed anybody how to use a microphone before? Because here's what it sounded like at the event. I just want to say happy to be here, the Padres fans. And I mean, it was
John. Great off of Peter Seidler. Okay,
Peter, John Moores, the whole thing. Yeah. Jake was the only one that got good. Right down on it.
Don Orsillo knew how to use it just fine.
He did. But it was
sounded great on TV.
Did it? Yeah. Oh, in person, it was literally playing. John Morris. I was like, what are we doing here? My son, you got kids there. Bo's rocking back and forth. We got down there because my friend wanted to go on the field for BP. He wanted to take his kids down there. Now, we're in a different generation. I get that. I do. And this is a true story. And I hope he's not listening right now. But I gotta do it anyway. So get down there at 2:30, right? Batting practice is about 3. So we wait in line for a minute. We get down to the field. They put us in the little corral. And you're down there to watch batting practice. And there's no guarantee of anything that anybody's going to come over and sign for you or anything like that. So they got all their cards and their ball and their hat and they're ready to go. Xander Bogaerts stops by, signs an autograph, signs one for my son, Bo. Bo doesn't really care about autographs, but he kind of saw the 2 other kids doing it, so he did it, which bodes well for the future. So he gets his autograph. Josh Hader comes by. He's signing. A couple other guys drop by, talk to Tony Gwynn Jr., talk to Jesse Agler. So we're down there for a couple hours, like watching batting practice. Crony comes up, says hello, signs, and everything else. It was great. Super nice. So we're roasting in the sun, and it's pretty much done. The Rangers are coming out to swing now, so there's really no reason to stay down there. So I'm like, well, let's go up. We'll get some food or whatever. So we're walking down the tunnel out, and I hear one of the kids go, I didn't even get Machado or Tatis or Soto. And I'm like, maybe I just throw you out of the stands onto the field, just by the back of your pants. Maybe I pick you up and just heave you onto the field. It's just this thing of like, oh, I'm sorry I was not able to get you 3 of the best players in the world. They didn't come up and sign. They got work to do, and so that's their job. And so that was, it is what it is. These are kids.
By the way, all of those guys sign a ton.
Oh, yeah. Just didn't get them. There's no guarantee.
Constantly all the time. You're not going to get to everybody every time, everywhere. I think it would be one of the hardest things about being a big time professional athlete, because I would feel, and I assume they do as well, a very big responsibility to the fans. And I think the last thing I'd want was to leave the ballpark at night thinking, yeah, I signed 500 autographs and I left 100 kids like disappointed that they didn't get one because I couldn't stay for another 45 minutes and sign more, and that there were kids who went home sad that night because of me. I would feel
terrible, awful,
even though you probably went out of your way to sign tons and tons. But you can't just sit there forever and ever and ever. You've got work to do. You got rest to get. You got things. You got to go eat your dinner. I mean, you can't just spend your entire life either on the baseball field and then signing autographs the rest of the time.
And it's sweet. And obviously, like it's nice to have a little bit of access where you can call and say, hey, can we come down the field for batting practice? And they say, go ahead. Every kid that loves baseball, you would love it if they could have that same experience. They deserve it. That's what the game is for the kids. Bless you, Paul. The game is for the kids. And I wish every kid in there could have had, an opportunity to say hi to Xander Bogaerts and Josh Hader. It's what I'm trying to teach my son, is to be appreciative and be grateful for the awesome opportunities that you're afforded. I just don't think it sinks in a lot to the kids. I think it will later down the road, but I can't say I wasn't much more of a spoiled brat either when I was that age. I don't think I was. I got to meet one big league ball player until forever. It was Dave Winfield. And I lost my mind. I lost my ever-loving mind when I met Dave Winfield. And I think that was the first and last one I met until decades and decades later. But I just remember my dad taking me down there and me just being like, holy crap, this is incredible. Now it's like, well, thanks, Dad. I didn't get to meet Don Mattingly. You know what I mean? Like, it just blows my mind. It's just crazy. So trying to teach my kids that. So we did that. We went to the new Children's Museum, which is downtown as well. I took the boys there Saturday. The place, if you're a parent, is a cheat code because you can wind them up, let them go. There's a million things to do, and you can sit on your ass and play on your phone and do whatever you want to do and let them go. Now, it's the Children's Museum, which means there's about 1 billion other kids there. So you get a little Jeremy and things like that. But we did that. We went to Tacos El Gordo downtown.
Oh, wow.
Delicious. Then took Bo to the game yesterday. I'm exhausted. This is my vacation today.
Quite the weekend.
I
went to the game on Friday, and that was fun. And then on Saturday, before the Padres game, took the boys and went to the matinee of Oppenheimer, which was outstanding.
How was it?
Outstanding. It was long.
How long? 3:15?
Like 3:15, 3:30 after all the previews and everything, really. And it was really well done. I love Christopher Nolan movies, and this is another, I mean, probably going to win all the awards. The acting performances were fantastic.
The way I saw it said was every Christopher Nolan movie was just the build up to this one.
Wow. Okay.
It was.
And he's put out a lot of
some
movies.
bangers.
It was very serious, as you can imagine, given the topic. And I don't know, for me, I guess when I go to a theater, I like a little more escapist, like get away from reality for a while. Let's just put it this way. After the movie was done, and I guess this is a sign of a good movie, my 20-year-old and I got into an argument in the car about it because it, just brought up weighty topics, and we were discussing, the end of World War II and the use of the atomic bomb and what it really meant.
Right.
And the historical significance and the moral implications of it all. And I realized I don't really know if that's my Saturday was what I
it kind of sucked actually.
Spend it. I don't want to say anything bad about the movie. It was a phenomenal movie. It's going to win, I promise you, almost every award out there when the Oscars come around next year.
All right.
You should probably see it at some point.
So I got to throw you under the bus a little bit because you said before the show started, you didn't go to a theater where you could lay back and have nachos and relax in your seat.
Correct. There were no tickets available in those theaters, or they were only front row on the side.
Okay.
So we went.
So it wasn't for a lack of looking.
We went to a slightly older school that was stadium style, but it wasn't with the big recliner seats.
Your feet are on the ground.
Yeah, feet were on the ground the entire time, and for 3.5 hours.
Can't do it.
Both the boys who have never really, honestly experienced that in their life, said, "We're never doing that again." We're not going to that theater again. I go, you are so lucky.
Yeah, spoiled.
I can guarantee you that theater was 10 times more comfortable than the theaters I used to
rickety
go to
ass,
growing up with the
tiny seats,
tiny seats, and that barely any
padding.
rise from the one row to the next. You're kind of looking around the shoulder of the person in front of you to see the screen.
My dad used to make us go to the Dollar movie. Remember the Dollar movie? Yeah, $1. Cool. Oh, yeah. All my friends saw this 6 months ago, but let's go see it now. It's so good. Hey, you guys want to go to the Dollar movie? We don't really have a choice. You're the only one with an automobile. So, no, it was a great weekend. I want to see that movie, but I want to.
You mean I have to go back to get a refill myself at the snack stand?
I want to watch it at home because I don't. Will I miss anything watching it at home?
Obviously the climactic scene was very impressive in a theater.
Okay,
but
I believe that.
I wasn't in IMAX surround sound, so I think you can probably be okay. You'll miss a little bit of it if you watch it at home, but honestly, for 3 hours and 10 minutes of the 3 hour and 15, you'll be just fine watching it at home.
All right. Well, listen. Obviously, the events of the weekend have probably changed the narrative for some people. Again, we needed this, right? You needed if you wanted to go on a run, this is exactly how you start it. And everyone was tweeting us over the weekend. Oh my God, I can't wait for Monday. The show's going to be so excited and off the hook. And I go, wow, what am I missing? What am I missing? I told my wife this morning, walking out the door, I go, everyone wants us to be all excited today. And I am. I love that sweep, but now it's unfortunate. I'm one of my kids. Now I'm like, I need it again. I need more. Give me more. 3 was great. You know what I haven't seen all year? 4.
You want all the autographs.
I want all the autographs, right? I got 3. I'd like to see 4. Hell, I'd like to see 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't lose. Don't lose. I realize you're going to lose some, but I'm still excited. But I'm still a little bit cautious about this team. And, the caution is seeping in regards to tonight's game.
And with the injury to Ha-Seong Kim, we'll talk about that as well. That adds a layer of caution as well. It's just a reminder that so many things need to go right. Now, they absolutely have the talent to come back and make the playoffs, maybe even win a World Series. But so many things need to go right, and they really can't afford almost anything going wrong over these last 2 months. Like a serious injury to a player or two, pretty much done. And hopefully it's not serious for Ha-Seong Kim. We'll give you all the reports from yesterday's game, but you just remember this season is still on the knife's edge.
It really is.
This was a huge weekend that allows you to keep some hope, but the season remains balanced on the edge of a knife We will talk about it. The trade deadline tomorrow certainly feels like they're probably not going to sell at this point. That is definitely something, the impression that we're getting based on the weekend sweep of the Rangers. We'll talk about all of that. Of course, it's Monday, Grand Ole Monday. That means we'll have one of our friends from Cespedes Family Barbecue join us. It'll be a Jake Mintz Monday at 8:35. In-season Sammy, Sam Levitt. Spent all weekend at Petco Park. He's going to be with us at 9:35. All of our regular features. We got a new prize for Take on Woods. New month, new getaway to Las Vegas. Chance to qualify coming up next hour in our musical trivia game. Don't do this. And, of course, Daily Ditty is next. I can't remember the last time I picked a theme, but it's my pick, my week. Always a little dicey for these guys.
Oh, boy.
We'll see what's coming up next on Ben and Woods. Get our first check of traffic, and then off we go on a Monday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Mike and the Mechanics. Songs about miracles.
Yeah, you're not too far off. This is All I Need Is a Miracle by Mike and the Mechanics. And the theme is songs about, overcoming long odds, long shots, miracles, something that the Padres will need.
I like it.
To get to the playoffs. But I also had been thinking about this song and theme for a while as possibly would be a fun category. Songs that I think will annoy Wood.
That's also a good one. Yeah, because I am not.
That you like not just songs you genuinely like. Because I think Paulie and I could really do an entire week picking our favorites that we think would actually get the most under your skin.
What am I supposed to play?
I wasn't sure exactly what would come to mind for Woods, but for me and Paul, I thought it'd be fun to pick, and I knew this one would be not.
So is it
not up your
overcoming
alley at
long
all.
odds or
Come on, hit
pissing
it,
Woods
Paulie,
off?
hit it.
It's the worst part of the 80s. The Genesis
Agree to disagree.
offshoots. Yeah.
Agree to
Offshoots of
disagree.
Genesis. Now, the older I get, I found myself listening to a lot more Phil Collins, and I don't know why. I've been drawn to Phil Collins.
It's like
lately.
a biological
It's
thing,
like a
but
thing.
as you get older,
Bro, soon my hairline is and I'm gonna look around and I'm gonna be like, I don't even own New Balance sneakers, but I have them now, and I'm listening to Phil Collins, and I don't know why. I need to get a couple tattoos or something, dude, just to reverse the aging that's going on in my brain, because I heard Phil Collins recently and was like, this is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what's wrong with
I was
me.
listening to Invisible Touch the other day.
See, that one still kills me.
I like it. See, I like that one
Do you
too.
know invisible touch? What's the one he does the duet with
That's
the guy?
with Philip Bailey. Easy Lover.
Easy
Lover.
That's what got me back. And then I heard In the Air Tonight, and I'm like, this is too good.
So yeah, instead of getting Underwood's skin, because that's not really fair. It's songs about long shots, miracles, overcoming long odds.
No, I like it because SoCal Yeti in the chat says Woods has to pick a song he knows is good, but he hates. I'm like, all right, I can do that. Songs that get on my nerves. It's a fantastic theme. A fantastic theme.
See, no, it's not that hard. Usually I just pick things that I really like.
Yeah.
And that end being
Ben,
songs.
just do you.
Just be,
Do you.
Me.
Be
Paul will
you.
have to be a little more judicious in his choices because there's more overlap with Wood. But for me, it's just pick what you really like, and generally that's
I'll make
gonna
fun
be
of it.
something
Yeah.
that gets under Woods' skin.
Yeah, but now
most part.
it's all changing, buddy. It's all changing. Oh, Lord. All right.
All right, let's quickly start with the Ha-Sung Kim.
Oh.
What we know, what we don't know, and we don't know much. If you followed the game yesterday, Ha-Sung Kim left in the third inning as he tagged up and scored on a sacrifice fly by Xander Bogaerts, but sliding into home plate, reaching with his left arm to try to touch the plate, suffered what the Padres are calling a jammed shoulder. Now, he came out of the game. They did examinations, imaging.
Man.
It did look bad. Now,
I mean, the fact that he
Don't
grabbed
say
it
it, man.
immediately.
Don't say it. I know what you're going to say.
I'm not going to say anything. It was very concerning. The imaging, though, apparently came back pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
No structural damage, no bone damage.
Sublex.
Just
as
calling
Bob
it
Melvin
a
said.
jammed shoulder at this point. And Bob Melvin, after the game, said he's day-to-day. Kind of would anticipate that he won't be playing tomorrow, as in today, against the Colorado Rockies. But hopefully, it won't be too long. They're going to see how he feels when he gets up in the hotel in Denver this morning.
Yeah, jammed right shoulder. Did it sliding at the plate. It's day to day right now. I think tomorrow is going to be a key day to see how he comes in. My guess is he won't play tomorrow, but hopefully it's not too long.
Did you think the ball carried Huff into the line and that all was above board on that play?
It did. It looked to me like the ball got took him there. I mean, he's safe, so it's regardless, it's going to be safe. But it looked like it to me. I don't love the whole blocking the plate thing to begin with, but glad he was safe.
There was a knee drop there that I did not care for from the 9 foot tall redhead, Mr. Huff. He was set up fine. And then when he caught the ball, his left knee, he dropped it like a wrestling move almost on right in front of the plate. Now, Ha-Sung Kim did not touch the plate until after. Luckily, the ball went by. That's what they should spend the entire offseason doing, is figuring out what needs to happen at the plate, because that was a really, really dangerous thing. Now, I also put a little bit of the blame on guys that slide head first in the home plate. I do.
Would that change anything if they just eliminate, like, you have to slide if
With your
into home
feet.
plate?
It's a preference thing, and some guys are so good at it. Some guys you don't want to see. Juan Soto, I watched him pretty closely yesterday running the bases, and it was our own beloved Adam Jones that called him either an ATM or a vending machine. He is a vending machine out there. You don't want to see him lumbering towards home, reaching out and diving. Ha-Seong Kim's pretty friggin' athletic. Fernando Tatis, pretty athletic. Manny does the slide and the hand by thing. He knows what he's doing. Ha-Seong Kim plays so hard, man. And it feels like it's just shortening careers, dude. But they got to figure it out.
Because of the new rules, obviously they don't want guys barreling into the catcher at home plate. That's why they changed the rules to begin with, the Buster Posey and, protecting catchers at home plate. But first of all, let me say, I appreciate Bob Melvin's consistency here. When it happened to the Padres, and was it Nola or was it, I forget who was catching, they got, carried into home plate, and they had the ruling from New York when they overturned it and gave the run, and we all lost our mind going, how can you call that? I wonder what would have happened if Ha-Seong Kim hadn't, if he had been so hurt that he was laying there and they went and grabbed the ball and tagged him out because he hadn't touched home plate. I really wonder if New York would have overturned that call and made him safe because of the blocking the plate rule.
I wonder
come down to it. I really do wonder. And I appreciate Bob's consistency, because he lost his mind when it went against the Padres and they called the runner safe because, hey, the plate was blocked and barely. I mean, he had 1 foot on the back of the plate. This, Huff was entirely in front of the plate. Ha-Seong Kim couldn't even reach it no matter what he did with his left arm trying to reach across. There was no way to get to it.
No way. The knee drop
completely blocked the home plate. Now, but the ball did kind of carry him over in that direction. So, it's just so
it's so subjective.
So subjective.
It's just so subjective. It's like a foul in basketball, except this has the potential to ruin guys' seasons and ruin team seasons, when it happens, and really set guys' careers back. So I don't know what you do. I do know that in football they change rules all the time. It sounds stupid as hell, man. It really does. When I say it out loud, make it a freaking, make it like a force almost. I swear,
I mean,
there's got to be something.
I don't know about a force, but
not a force, but you know what I mean.
I would say if you slide feet first into home plate and you beat the throw, you slide right next to the catcher, and for some reason you don't hit home plate because the catcher's in front of it, make that's safe.
I guess
you're not avoiding
umpire's judgment.
You're not avoiding the tag. You're just avoiding the catcher.
Yeah.
So you don't slide into him. The ball, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if you touch home plate or not. If you beat the throw, if you slide in, you're safe.
Like in football, what do you have to get over the line for a touchdown? The tiny nose cone smidge. That's a touchdown. There's got to be something.
Make it so the runner doesn't have to contort himself to touch home plate in any way. Doesn't have to reach
separate his shoulder,
exposed shoulder and arm or anything. And he doesn't have to slide into the catcher either. As long as you make an effort to slide somewhere near home plate where the catcher can reach you and tag you. You're not sliding 6 feet away so you can avoid
my
tag,
kids do.
And I'd be okay with that. As long, it's still the play at the plate. You still have to be tagged, but we're not going right to the letter of the law. You don't have to get a finger on the black. If they're blocking the plate, then you just slide anywhere near it. It's like the neighborhood play for runners.
It sucks because no matter what side of the play the Padres are on, and yesterday they were on the wrong side of that play, I tend to sympathize with the catchers. I really do.
Because it's what am I supposed to do?
They have been taught their whole life one way, and you're moving at such high speeds. The play is happening so quickly, and for them to have to pause and think, all right, where's my foot? Where's my leg gonna go? That's a lot to freaking worry about.
Yeah, and that dude did drop a knee. I mean, I was right on top. I was 15 feet away from that play.
The first time I saw it, I go,
dropped the knee.
Yeah, that's a good block.
Yeah, he blocked the plate. So anyway, hopefully he's okay. You do feel a little bit queasy without the thought of one of the he honestly has played himself into being one of the best players in baseball in Ha-Seong Kim, and he's ours, and we have him, and he belongs at the top of the lineup. That has been a brilliant move by them to lead him off. He's been incredible, and you don't feel like you're going to win a ton of games without him up there. So, prayers up for our beloved Korean Prince Ha-Sung King.
A lot that happened
Ha-Sung
after
Kim.
that play, though. It's a victory
Ha-Sung
Monday.
King. I just did a Ben. Ha-Sung King.
We will go through the rest of yesterday's 5-3 win over 5-3 win over the Texas Rangers right after this check of commercials, and then we'll be back on 97 through the fan.
Do
No
that.
traffic here.
We'll be
I almost
right
pulled
back.
the woods.
Thank you.
We need to go to traffic here. I don't know.
It's Sunday, everybody. Forgive me. Forgot to tell you guys that story. Friday night, I was at the game, and we were going up to get something. Bo wanted something, so we were walking up the stairs, and a guy was sitting there, and I was holding Bo's hand walking up the stairs. The guy goes, "Woodsy, what's up, man?" He goes, I'm a huge fan. I listen every morning. I go, "Oh, dude, thank you so much." "Oh, hey, Bo, what's up, buddy?" Bo's like, "Hi." The dude behind him, older guy, I'd say probably mid-60s, sitting there with his wife, and he goes, "I too listen every day, but I'm a Ben fan." And I was like, "Well, all right, see you later."
Thank you, sir.
It was amazing. Like, okay, well, F me, I guess. I mean,
That's good to know there's Ben fans out there.
there's tons of Ben fans.
Now, is
out
he
there.
a sober Ben fan or a drunk Ben
Oh,
fan?
he seemed sober.
Okay, no. I mean, fan of
is he a-
sober
Oh,
Ben
Oh, sober
or drunk
Ben or drunk Ben?
So we recorded these little, I don't even know what you call them. They're little.
What did Adam call
They're
them?
little drops that go in our spot breaks, just to let you know that we're almost back.
Yeah,
And
we're
I
almost
heard-
back.
And we recorded them like a month ago, and I haven't heard them until today. But heard yours in the first break, and then in the last break, I heard mine. And for some reason, I sound like Blotto
Hammered.
on this one.
Visit forthepeople.com for an offer
You do sound
near
weird.
you.
Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods is back in 2 minutes on
Oh.
97.3 The Fan.
What
could be more
in
perfect?
the world?
What did they do to me?
Don't go anywhere because you're right back.
Hey.
You sound like I do on Ambien at like 11 at night.
Blotto Ben.
One more time, Paulie.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods is back in 2 minutes on 97.3 The Fan.
What could be more perfect?
Harry Carey Jr. over here. I watched a Harry Carey call yesterday. I think I retweeted. It was Michael Jordan hitting a double at Wrigley Field. They were playing an exhibition game, White Sox Cubs, probably spring training. Jordan was there. He rips a double down the line, and Harry Carey on the call. Cool moment, to be sure. But I was like, oh my God. We all grew up listening to Harry Carey. We all watched it on WGN, and you forget. You really, really forget just how interesting that
He
guy
leaned
was.
into the Budweiser. That
Oh,
was part
yeah.
of his shtick.
Yeah.
That was part of his identity.
I can't imagine doing
And I don't know
that
how
gig.
much of it was truly 3 sheets to the wind versus just kind of getting older and maybe,
Yeah, maybe the combo of both
Yeah.
was pretty deadly. But he was, yeah.
at a certain point, it definitely sounded like Blotto Ben on the air.
Jordan just tweeted, "LOL at these new Ben and Woods don't go anywhere spots." Yeah.
So here's how I sent it over.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods is back in 2 minutes on 97.3 The Fan.
That
See?
sounds phenomenal.
That's normal.
That sounds
that's
absolutely
how I
professional
recorded it.
and phenomenal.
Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods is back in 2 minutes on 97.3 The Fan.
What in the hell?
Why did it do that? I don't know.
Oh Lord, I have no idea.
We may need
No
to rework
idea.
some things. All right, let's check traffic. When we come back, all of Jesse's highlights from yesterday's sweep clinching win over the Rangers. Next on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a handful of trouble spots this time around. Still clearing this crash on northbound 15 before Rainbow Valley. That has been cleared out of the left lane. Just watch out for a little residual slowing. Also traveling on the westbound 56, just past Carmel Country Road. There's a collision in the center divide. Fire crews have got that left lane blocked. Westbound side of the 52 before Genesee. There is a collision involving a couple vehicles. One's in the center divide, one over to the right shoulder, and an accident clearing on northbound 5 right before the Coronado Bridge. Everything is over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning.
So much.
You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner.
This about damn time.
Snell has struck out each of the last two. This pitch in the dirt, check swing, He went. That's strike 3. And that's all for the Rangers here in the top of the second inning. A leadoff walk and then 3 straight strikeouts for Blake Snell. Here's the 1-1. And Bogarts lines it into center field. Tavares charging. Gets behind it. Makes the catch. Kim tagging. Here's the throw to the plate. The tag is safe. Ball got through the catcher Huff and backed up by the pitcher Bradford. A sac fly for Xander Bogaerts and a 1-0 Padre lead here in the third inning. Duran leads at second base. The pitch on the way, and that's a little tapper up the third baseline. Snell barehands it, fires wide to first. That's going to go up the right field line. Duran will come in and score, and we're tied at 1 here in the fourth inning. Gary Sanchez, first pitch, no doubter, upper balcony, Western Metal. And just like that, the Padres are back in front, 2-1 here in the bottom of the fourth. Lefty to lefty against Juan Soto. Padres a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the fourth. Soto swings at the first pitch and lines one fair down the other way towards the left field corner. Grossman digging it out. Fernando's rounding third. He's going to score easily from first base. Soto into second with an RBI double, and the Padres lead it 3-1. Burke from the third base side of the rubber deal. Sanchez hits one in the air to deep center field. Tavares going back at the wall. It's going to go! Second consecutive inning that Gary Sanchez goes deep. It is 11th of the year in the fourth, now his 12th of the year here in the fifth, and the Padres add on. It's 4-1. 2 on and 2 out. First pitch from Martinez, lined up the middle and into center field, a base hit. Garver has scored. Duran's on his way. Throw from center, not in time. A 2-run single for Marcus Semien, and it's a 1-run game here in the sixth. Here's the 1-1. Young swings, hits a ground ball to third. Manny's got it to second one. Patton's turn to first in time, and a double play to end the inning. No harm, no foul on the leadoff walk. 1-0 the pitch. And Fernando hits a rocket into left field. That's a base hit. Grisham's put his head down. He's at third, rounding third. Now the ball gets through Grossman. Grisham will score. Tatis rounding second. He'll stop there. And the Padres add on in the bottom of the eighth. It's 5-3. 0-2 again. A pitch to Young, hit in the air towards the right field line. Long run, Fernando near the line. In foul ground. He's got room, and he makes the catch to end the ball game. Padres sweep the Rangers, who loaded the bases in the top of the ninth but do not score. And the final here this afternoon, the Padres 5 and the Rangers 3.
You know, not only to get a sweep here at home, weekend, sold out crowds, and against a team that's scored 60 more runs than anybody else in the American League. So they're down a couple of guys, but it's a really good team and should be, a confidence boost for us.
What a weekend, especially for starting pitching.
No doubt.
Allowed 1 earned run all weekend. No earned runs. 1 unearned run all weekend from the starting pitchers against, as Bob said, a Texas Rangers team that had scored more runs than anybody else this year. Now, yeah, they were out without a couple of players. Corey Seager was out. Jonah Heim was out this weekend, but they have other guys who've done a ton of damage, kept them in the yard all weekend. Not a single home run by the Rangers. The entire 3-game series, an incredible job by every starting pitcher, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, and Blake Snell this weekend in leading the Padres to a much-needed sweep over the Rangers. Blake, like the last few starts, it was a bit of a dance, 4 walks in 5 innings, but struck out 9 and gave up just 4 hits in the 1 unearned run, lowering his ERA, his already league best ERA among qualified starters, to 2.50. That was his last start in July. Good chance he will back up his June Pitcher of the Month award with a July Pitcher of the Month award. Hard to imagine that
Backing up Michael Walker's May
Pitcher of the Month award.
And
that's hard to imagine that a guy who's won half of the Pitcher of the Month awards isn't your leading Cy Young Award candidate in the National League. I don't know that he is right now, but no one's pitched better than Blake Snell the last couple of months.
And I don't want to come in here this morning and say, well, that's why we've been telling you guys, we need to rally behind this team and get behind them, because the pitch. Honestly, one thing though we have said pretty much like a mantra this season is, if you can get there, you really like your chances with the guys because of the way the starting pitching has been. They have been magical. Then they've been able to get themselves into trouble and work their way out of trouble. Yu Darvish did it to great success on Saturday night. We'll get
Bro, I
into
barely
Saturday's
sat down.
game.
I'm like, oh God.
Yeah,
on
right.
Saturday
But
night.
the thing is, Paulie and Ben and everybody listening out there, that is one thing that you can look at, that and the defense, and you look at and you go, we can catch the ball and we can throw the ball. We have seen spurts of the hitting, which is why, this season you shudder to think how much good pitching we've wasted this year. And I mean wasted because of a crappy back end of a bullpen or a crappy end of the bench, whatever. Really things that could have been addressed earlier. They weren't. You can't do anything about these games that you lost now. But man, one thing all season long we've kind of been harping on is they do have the pitching. They have the pitching to, in a series, you don't want to go up against these guys, man. They can absolutely shut you down.
And what we've seen is that it doesn't really matter how good the opponent is. The three teams with the best run differential in baseball, the Braves, the Rangers, and the Rays, they've won the season series from all three of those. Those are by far the three best teams in baseball so far this season by run differential. But then they lost to the Royals. They lost the season series to they split with the Nationals. Yep. They lost 2 of 3
Pirates,
to the Pirates
5-6 to the Pirates.
That's
the tough part.
It's such a strange phenomenon that the Padres play their best against the better teams. Dodgers excluded. They've had trouble with the Dodgers, but everyone else, they've really done well.
They were in every single one of those Dodger games. Every single one of them.
2 or 3 for the Blue Jays, who are 12 games above 500. Right. They played well against the teams near the top of their division.
So that's a big enough sample size to say, yes, that the San Diego Padres are notorious this season for playing down to their competition. They absolutely do. They absolutely have, which is why I think normal, sane Padre fans are still very cautious about this 3-game set coming up in Colorado. 3 games? Yeah, 3. Coming up in Colorado. Colorado is going nowhere, and they've just traded away massive pieces. They've got other pieces that are sitting on the IL right now that you're not going to have to face. But what you do have to take into account is, those guys need to be replaced with somebody. And the guys that are coming up, bro, they're hungry. They're playing for nothing other than a look. They're playing for eyeballs. You cannot go in there and take these games lightly. You just can't. You've proven that you can't take a game off. You've proven that the worse the team is, the more you struggle with them. You've proven the worse the starting pitcher, the higher his ERA, the tougher it's going to be for you guys to hit him. There was nobody they couldn't handle on some of the best teams that we've beaten this year, Ben. And you look at it now and you're like, boy, had we won just half of those games, we'd be in better shape. We didn't. And we can't.
Beat Ohtani, beat Scherzer right before the All-Star break. They've handled the best. Now, you say they play down to their competition. It means they also play up to their competition as well.
No doubt.
It doesn't really matter if you play down to your competition a little bit, as long as you find a way to win. And I think that's where you see that record in one-run games has really killed it, because a lot of those have come against the bad teams.
Right.
They played down just enough to find a way to lose those games. Now, you don't have to play your best to beat those teams. That's usually the
we do
advantage.
We do. We have to play our best, I feel, to beat those teams, because you've proven that even at your sub best, you haven't found a way to win those games. So now they do. Now the mentality has got to be,
especially for this series,
it's the freaking Lou Holtz mentality. You get them all psyched up about, don't let this team beat you. Everyone thinks that you played down. You have to destroy them. And I'm a wreck. It feels like playoffs. Every game feels like a playoff game. My nails look at my nails after yesterday's game. They are nubs. They're down to the nubs.
Yeah, ninth inning was kind of stressful.
It was brutal. Absolutely
2 outs,
brutal.
nobody on, and all of a sudden the
bases are loaded. And you're like, oh my God.
Go ahead, runs on first. Haters, fouling off the pitches and
good pitches and yeah, man.
Finally got it done.
So right now we have MLB Network on in the studio, and they just had the graphic. Padres sweep the Rangers, remain 5 games back in the wild card, and it said, "What will they do?
What will they do?
How in the next 30 hours ish? How much of MLB Network's topics will be related to the Padres and AJ Preller?" Like
quite a
that's,
bit.
they're the number one story.
I mean, it's probably the reason I didn't sleep all that well last night. I fully expected to wake up to something this morning. It could have happened during our show. We have no idea.
This hour on the Fan brought to you by Total Wine and More. With so many bottles to choose from, there's always something new to try at Total Wine and More. How about a great Prosecco for under $8 or a French Rosé for under $7 at the lowest prices for over 30 years? Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21. Where are we going to be back next? I want to apologize to Total Wine for butchering that reading and going way too fast at the end. I was running out of time there.
Would you like to give him another one?
It's like the shot clock was
Yeah,
about
it
to go
was.
off, and I
It
had to
really-
get it up.
It was the
before
pitch
hit
clock,
zero.
and you're like, "Oh my god, I got to rush this pitch."
I absolutely then tossed it to the back stump.
Wanna
But
do it
you can
again?
get a great Prosecco for under $8 or a French Rosé for under $7. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21. Now that's how it's good stuff.
Much better. That's how it's done.
All right, hour number 2. We'll play some Take on Woods coming up. We got a brand new getaway to Las Vegas to qualify listeners for clean slate. Anybody who qualified last month, you're back in the running. I get ready to call in here in a couple of minutes, 833-288-0973. By the way, Saturday's game, 4-0 win. Might have been one of the more boring Padres games of the season.
Thank God for it, man.
Which was fine. I was okay with that. They scored all their runs in the second inning.
Yeah.
And then that was really all that happened.
They will do that, man.
And you Darvish had a walk the first 2 guys, and you're thinking, oh no, coming off his last start where he just got rocked and had no command, you're thinking, oh no, he hasn't figured it out. This is going to be bad. This is going to be the loss that sinks the ship. And then he got out of the jam in the first and was quite good after that with 6 shutout innings, looking like, well, you Darvish once again.
I had prepared myself mentally because what's been the story of the season as far as 3-game series goes for the Padres this year, it's
big win,
blowout.
Yep.
Friday, or game 1, blowout game 2, and it's flip-flop whether they win the first game or the second game. But when they blew them out on Friday night, I was at Saturday's game. I go into it going, probably going to get our asses kicked tonight.
Yep.
And that will line up for a heartbreaking 1-run, just awful loss on Sunday. And Darvish walks the first 2 guys. I'm going, oh my God.
Well, it's a really good lesson for all of us in the media and in the fan base. It really helps explain what happened the start before. Does it not explain to you guys why Bob Melvin, and I said on last Monday, I think I said, look, Bob's got to manage these games like playoff games to some extent. And when your starting pitcher does not have it, you gotta be ready to make strong moves. Now, again, Bob picks up that bullpen phone. It's evened out a little bit for him here over the last week or so, Benny, but for the most part, there's no real long relief guy he's going to put in if you Darvish can only go 3 innings. But watching him figure it out in real time on Saturday, I thought to myself, yep, that's why you leave him out there the previous start. That's exactly
his final line. You don't even remember the first inning.
That's exactly right. That you look at and that you say that's what he is capable of. So, yes, that's why you ride him. That's why you think to yourself, he's a pitch away from getting out of this jam that he created. And I thought that was a really, really telling move from Bob Melvin. Well, obviously you're going to leave him in. It's first inning, but watching him work his way out, watching him pitch sometimes, again, I think we take it for granted what a master he is and his ability to adjust on the fly. He just didn't have it that previous start. He couldn't find it, but
Correct.
He's done it so many times.
It is
before.
why, you usually do trust him to turn it around. Now, if you want to nitpick something about Bob Melvin, and I actually don't disagree with his choice on Saturday, but if you want to nitpick him, Padres had that 4-run lead. And they went to their highest leverage relievers, Steven Wilson, Robert Suarez, and Josh Hader, who on Saturday night in a non-save situation, but a game, obviously the Padres felt like they had to win. You can't let that one get away.
That's it.
Wilson threw 29 pitches, Suarez threw 16, Hader threw 18. And they hadn't been used in a couple of days. You want to keep them fresh. But then yesterday, when you do have a game that ends up, it's 4-3, 5-3 in the late innings, Wilson throws an efficient 10 pitches in the 7th. Suarez 18 in a 1-2-3 8th inning, and then Hader has to work for 31 pitches. So now you feel like all 3 of them, because they were used Saturday in a game where you didn't necessarily have to, now all 3 of them are probably burned for tonight's game against the Colorado Rockies.
Sorry.
Was Bob Melvin too aggressive?
No.
In his usage on Saturday of his highest leverage reliever?
Buddy, the thought of being too careful right now or being too aggressive right now, I just don't think that it exists. And Bob Melvin's also, you have to look at who you're facing. You're facing one of the best offenses or the best offense in baseball. So they kept saying it on the broadcast. When this team scores, being the Rangers, they score in bunches. So you don't F around. You do not use Tom Cosgrove there, who's been fine. You do not use Brent Honeywell there. You do not use Luis Garcia there. You didn't even use Nick Martinez there on Saturday. And, of course, he came in yesterday and was a little bit dicey and let them right back in the game. But
when you hear that about the Rangers, it makes sense.
They were
a couple of swings away.
That's exactly right.
All 3 games.
That's exactly right.
I agree with you.
I had no problem
entirely. maybe you could have avoided Hader with the 4-0 lead in the ninth
You
on
cannot-
Saturday, but
You cannot let those games get away from you, especially and look, hey, but at the end of the day, with hindsight being 2020, you certainly can't complain that it worked. It worked. It absolutely worked. Now, had you lost those games or you lost yesterday because you used them Saturday, sure, nitpick away. At the end of the day, you swept the Texas Rangers, a first place team with a really, really good offense. Keep being aggressive. Keep being aggressive.
it also underscores, and we've been saying it all year long, but I wasn't sure how true it would end up being, how much the Padres missed Robert Suarez.
Oh my God.
The first few months of the year. He has come back. He's been fantastic. He's actually only allowed one base runner in 5 innings, 5 appearances. Unfortunately, it was that home run that gave Carlos Santana the little bit of insurance that may have cost him the game against the Pirates. But other than that, 15 up, 15 down for the other batters he has faced so far this season.
Easy 100,
1.80 ERA. Yeah, hit 3 triple digits on the radar gun a few times, including yesterday. It is very nice for Bob Melvin, for that Padres bullpen, to have Robert Suarez back finally. And it does give the Padres a much better chance of going on a run, a winning streak with that added insurance. Now, they also have to find ways to win, particularly tonight without those guys.
No doubt.
They need the offense to get an 8-run lead against Austin Gomber and the Rockies tonight. You can't necessarily trust a 1 or 2 run lead in Coors Field, knowing you can't probably use those guys late in the game. I doubt Suarez will pitch a 3rd straight day. I doubt Hader will pitch a 3rd straight day. Kind of doubt Wilson, even though he only threw 10 pitches yesterday. He worked pretty hard on Saturday.
39, over the last couple.
I don't know that any of those guys can go in. So you are definitely going to have to rely on some of your other bullpen guys. Lugo has been pretty reliable in going as deep as anyone they've had into games. 7 innings.
That could have gone 8. Could have gone the 8th.
Could have gone to the 8th as last time. This might be the time, but it's Coors Field. So you got to be ready for your starter to go 4.
It's literally a house
game
of
like this too.
It's a house of horrors. I mean, it's a bullpen killer. But if you have the mentality of, oh, cool, our sluggers get to hit there too. Juan Soto gets to hit in altitude. Manny Machado gets to hit in altitude. I hope Hassan Kim comes back this series. Fernando Tatis Jr. These guys can do damage at Coors Field, and that's the kind of Jake Cronenworth who's swinging the bat a little bit better. These are the guys that need to carry this team for the next couple days, man. While in this house of horrors that is Coors Field.
Need a contestant right now for Take on Woods. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We got a brand new prize coming up here. August 1st is tomorrow, but the new prize is in play today. It's a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang. Backed by popular demand after multiple sold-out shows, the legendary funk group Kool and the Gang returns to the stage at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino with their residency through 2024. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. And the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino featuring newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. So call now, 833-288-0973. Still coming up today on Ben and Woods, we got Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue at 8:35. Sam Levitt at 9:35. All guests appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. All right, let's get to it. It is time to take on Woods. All right, calls are coming in. Let's go right at the top. Guy, you were first. I don't mind Guy kicking off the month, one of our better contestants here. Good morning, Guy.
Hey, good morning.
I just told you
to be there.
I just told you the prize. So all we need to do is play the game. 5 questions of musical trivia, head-to-head against Woods. You go first. You get to pick our category. You beat or tie him. We'll put you into the drawing for the grand prize. Here are your choices today, Guy. In Your Face, 5 song titles that include the phrase in your. Billions and Billions, 5 songs that each have over 2 billion individual streaming plays on Spotify. And our new category, You're Out. Out, the keyword in all 5 answers. So those 3, In Your Face, Billions and Billions, or You're Out. What would you like to play, Guy?
Let's try In Your Face.
In Your Face. Yeah, it's not about face. It's about in your.
Yeah, I understand.
Somewhere in the title, all 5 of them include that phrase. You'll have 60 seconds. First question is our 2-second song. You need to give me the title and the artist when Paul plays the music, and we'll go on from there. See how you do. All right, Guy, you ready to play?
Sure.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock in the category In Your Face. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Guy. Let's take on Woods.
I died in your arms tonight. Wrecking Crew.
Oh, incorrect. Close. In the movie Say Anything, John Cusack holds a boombox over his head playing which Peter Gabriel song?
In your eyes.
Correct. Somniloquy is the medical condition described in the title of which 1983 hit song by the Romantics?
Pass.
They Might Be Giant sings about a blue canary in which single that was their first released under a major label?
Pass.
It's both the title and first track of Green Day's 2005 album featuring the hit song Best of You.
Pass.
Somniloquy is the medical condition described in the title of which 1983 hit song by the Romantics? Oh, you only got the one. This was a tough category today, Guy. No doubt about that. It's not Wrecking Crew, it's Cutting Crew. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. You got In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. Somniloquy is Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. Birdhouse in Your Soul is They Might Be Giants. And In Your Honor, very tough, Green Day. We'll see how Woods does. I like these. Tough categories are kind of interesting. But usually he's good for a couple. We'll see, Guy. Hang on the line. All right, Woods comes back in. He didn't hear any of that, and he doesn't get the category. Reset our song. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Guy.
I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight, Cutting Crew.
Correct. In the movie Say Anything, John Cusack holds a boombox over his head playing which Peter Gabriel song?
In Your Eyes.
Correct. Somniloquy is the medical condition described in the title of which 1983 hit song by the Romantics?
Pass.
They Might Be Giant sings about a blue canary in which single that was their first released under a major label?
Pass.
It's both the title and first track of Green Day's 2005 album featuring the hit song Best of You.
Eyes. Pass. Crap.
Somniloquy is the medical condition described in the title of which 1983 hit song by the Romantics?
Romantics. Oh, it's going to be an L. Guy's really good. Eyes. Romantics. It's going to kill me. Eyes.
Hurry.
You're totally off on the category, which didn't help.
Is it not Eyes?
Such a hard category. You actually pulled
really
out a
tough.
2-1 win. That was a
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
The category was not Eyes. It was In Your. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight.
In
Your Eyes.
All right.
Somniloquy is
In Your Romantics.
Well, what is song? What's
In
the,
Your Sleep?
Yeah, and what do you do if you somniloquy? Like loquacious, somniloquy.
Talking
in your sleep.
Is that
by the
I
Romantics.
hear the secrets that you keep? I like that song.
When you're talking in your sleep. Birdhouse in Your Soul is They Might Be Giants, and In Your Honor is the Green Day album and title track. But
That's
those are very
Foo Fighters, buddy. That's why I blew. That's why.
Is that Foo
That's Foo
Fighters?
Fighters. I would have known that one because you said Best of You, and I'm like,
I biffed that one.
yeah,
All
you
right.
did biff that. I would
You did
have
get
gotten
the
that.
win- you got the win
Oh,
at the end.
that would have been. I would have had this
You
one
would have
under
been mad about it. Why did I write
protest.
Green Day?
I don't know. Yeah, that's Foo Fighters in
Do you
Your
know
Honor.
any homework?
I usually do. Yeah. Come up with a lot of questions, though.
He
I'd
does,
say
he does.
thousands of them.
Thousands and thousands.
Every
of
once in a
questions.
while, I do make a mistake.
I was
just
like,
everybody
Green
else.
Day, Best of You.
Yeah,
What?
the guy will get another chance to qualify at some point this month, and maybe he had the same
What
problem.
would
but-
Green Day sound like?
Yeah, I know.
I would have been in your. If
Best
I
of You.
had missed that question.
Yeah, all right,
then.
fair enough. But you got the win,
I
so
did.
I'm not going to feel too bad about it today.
Excellent. All right,
All right, we got Don't Do This coming up next.
bro. I mean, everything even close to the Washington Commanders, they're still trimming the fat. Let's just say, if you have
Any
If you have anything to
association with
do.
them whatsoever.
it's just these comments reminded me of the guy that we've replaced twice something that he would say on the air.
And I've got a questionable decision on the golf course that actually
this is a
you
good
can
talker.
argue either way. I think it's going to end up being the do this.
This is a good talker. It
It's
really
a good
is.
one from yesterday. We will get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Baseball is a lot of things, but it isn't boring. Join Rob Bradford on his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring. Every day, Rob takes you through the league and spotlights what makes the game fun. Talks with players, managers, GMs, and reporters who all shine a light on America's pastime. Follow Baseball Isn't Boring in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, time for Don't Do This. We do 2 stories that make you shake your head, and one, well, today we got a good talker, I think, to wrap it up. But we'll start. Paul, you got the story about the Pat McAfee show?
Pat McAfee,
Yeah.
what are you doing, bro? So yesterday, Evan Fox, Zeeted, sent a Zeet, an X.
Just call it a tweet.
Just a tweet.
Sent a tweet. And so Evan Fox, when you click on his profile, his bio says all things video for the Pat McAfee show. So one of Pat McAfee's coworkers. And he tweeted a picture of Michigan State's new uniforms. He said, I still can't believe Michigan State thought it was okay to roll out these uniforms. And then right below that,
Are they hideous? What's
They're
wrong?
the bright
green
neon green. Yeah,
pants.
they look a little odd. They do look a little
forest green
All right,
jerseys
yeah,
that say
I mean,
state across.
Not the
It's-
worst things I've ever seen, but not great.
It's weird. It's like Michigan trying to keep up with Oregon or something. It looks like something
Yes, it
Oregon
looks
would
very
do.
Oregon-ish.
Anyways, McAfee comments on that Zeet and says, I think Nasser was in on the design team, actually.
Is that just a bad joke?
It's just
It's
a
a
bad
terrible
joke.
joke.
Larry
Yeah.
Nasser, who's was it the gymnastics?
The doctor.
Doctor
Who's
Sexually.
abused everybody at Michigan.
one of the worst people on the planet.
He's like
Terrible.
he's up
That's
in
terrible.
he's up in the lexicon of like other people. You don't mention. You know what I mean? You don't need to make the like. You can say they're ugly. Oh yeah, those
Yeah,
are hideous.
that's fine.
Yeah,
There's no reason to go there, is what you're saying.
yeah.
That's the don't do
It's
this.
the don't go there.
The problem is he got completely dragged for it. He never deleted it. It's still up right now.
I mean, look, it's a tasteless joke. Just say I made a tasteless joke, and I'm sorry, right? My computer has just fritzed out.
You're
Yes.
on the fritz?
There's no
Larry Nasser, sentenced to 140 to 360 years in prison.
Right.
That Larry
Nasser. I wish that my computer would.
Do you
work.
want me to handle
No,
the
I've-
next story?
I've
You got
I've
it? All right,
Yeah,
you're
I'm just
good?
gonna pull it up here on the old
This is about
on the old
the
phone.
Washington Commanders and their radio partner. Like, we're the radio partner
Yeah.
for the Padres. This is their flagship radio station and one of the hosts.
Yeah, he goes by the name of Don Geronimo.
Don Geronimo.
Yes, Don.
That's not his legal.
Geronimo.
That
It
is not his legal name.
No.
Well, first of all, that's a don't do this
Right.
right there.
It's-
They've already dropped
they've dropped
the
that
old nickname,
the
and
nickname,
any,
yeah.
connection with the Native Americans.
Don Geronimo.
You don't talk about that team and be named Don Geronimo.
Well, so he is now evaluating his options, Ben, after being fired for making a comment about a female reporter that was also
His real name, by the way, is Michael Source.
Michael Source.
Source.
Okay. So he was fired by iHeartMedia's WBIG-FM. Made a number of comments about Charlotte McBride, who is a reporter for WUSA 9 in D.C., by saying to her as she walked by their table, "Hey, Barbie girl, Barbie's here." Also said she was tight, and then said, "I thought she was a cheerleader." And so he was let go for his sexist and misogynistic comments. And she said, when I heard the comments made about me on the radio show, I felt incredibly insulted and embarrassed. And they 17 years as a professional journalist, have never been disrespected in such a blatant manner while trying to do my job. Their words were sexist and misogynistic. No woman should experience this in the workplace. And I appreciate the commander's swift response in handling this matter.
Don
Geronimo. And he said, "Oh, look, Barbie's here. Hi, Barbie," as she walked by. Just massively dumb and embarrassing for her. And yeah, he's out of a job. And he says, "I'm consulting with my advisors as to my options moving forward, including an accurate reflection of the situation." Now, he had just signed a new deal as well. Like 3 days before, he had signed a brand new deal.
We're going to be out and about on Friday. I caution everyone to resist the urge to objectify me. I know I'm looking very good with all my weight loss, but refrain from any inappropriate comments toward me on Friday. What?
I'm gonna slash your tires.
I'm gonna put sugar in his gas tank.
Have you seen the chat? I mean, people are talking about how good I look right now. The YouTube chat. I'm a professional journalist with over 25 years of experience.
This is unbearable. This is unbearable. Eric,
All right.
Eric in the chat says can't compliment a woman anymore. That's not a compliment.
That's not a compliment.
No,
that is not a compliment. Calling someone a Barbie girl is not a compliment.
Your camera is blurred out. Maybe that's why everyone thinks you're so attractive. So.
I don't know what to do about that. I know how to fix it when it's not pointed at me. I do not know what to do when it's blurry. All right. I thought this was an interesting.
Thought we all just had beer goggles on.
Yeah, right.
I thought this was an interesting story. Yesterday's golf tournament didn't get much attention. The 3M Open in Minnesota.
Forgot they were playing,
kind
actually.
Of not a great field coming off the British Open last week. It wasn't that interesting of a tournament either. Lee Hodges got his first career win. He was up 5 to start the final round. Ended up winning by 7. But here's where the dilemma came in. He had a 3-shot lead going into the final hole, playing with JT Poston.
Right.
He was 3 shots behind him, but also 3 shots clear of third place. So it pretty much looked like it was a foregone conclusion. Hodges is going to win. Poston is going to finish second. But JT Poston hit his drive on the par 5 down the right side into the rough, and he had a long shot either all the way over water to try to reach the green and maybe go for an eagle, which still likely would have left him a shot or 2 behind. He would have needed either a bogey for a playoff or a double bogey
for a win
from Lee Hodges to win.
But he had second place.
Locked
up with a par with a bogey.
So or a double bogey.
A double bogey.
But he went for it, came up short, hit the rocks, and then the sign in the water and into the water, dropped, ended up making a triple bogey, dropping in to a tie for second, which cost him about $250,000 in prize money.
$260,000.
Even though his chances of winning by going for, I don't know, maybe like 0.5%,
Sure.
a really, really tiny chance to win.
Ooh, man.
But in the end, JT Poston said and tweeted after, he'd do that every time. 10 times out of 10, I'm playing to win. I'm not playing for second place. And my only chance I thought to win was make a hero shot, eagle, double eagle. Who knows if it goes in?
Sure.
I've got a shot.
Fly it in.
You know, he could have laid up and hold his next shot for eagle still and probably guaranteed himself no worse than second place had he done that. So there were other options. Didn't really matter because Hodges ended up laying up and putting his next shot within a couple inches, tapping in for birdie. So there was no hope at all for him to win that tournament. So essentially he cost himself $250,000, more than 99.5% of Americans make in a single year.
Oh, yeah.
By one golf shot that he made. He cost himself that. But he said that. Max Homa said, I love that attitude,
I do
the
too.
go for it attitude. So I guess we're going to do this for someone who thinks winning is more important than the prize money.
Well, and I think, no matter, it's a good lesson for all of us. And once you start settling for second place, then that's what it would have been. I mean, I think, he's got the mentality of I want to win. And while I'm still breathing and while there's still a chance I win, I have to play to win. And playing for second place was not in the cards. Ended up getting second, but like you said, had to split it with 2 other guys, whereas he could have walked out of there with an extra 260. Hard to leave $260,000 on the table, but if he sleeps well at night and knows in his next tournament, like, this is my mentality, I have the winning mentality. I thought that was pretty cool. It
may help him in the long run.
Absolutely, and I think it's obviously it sucks, dude. It really does. It sucks, but I honestly think he did the right thing.
And that's
I do.
That's don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, when we come back, I'll try to stop looking blurry on the YouTube feed and talk about Friday night's Padres win. We were both at that game and start to look at the possibilities. What moves could the Padres make right now with just over, 30 hours left until the trade deadline? What can the Padres do if they are looking to buy and improve the roster at this point? That is coming up with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Hint Water, delicious fruit-infused water with 0 sweeteners and 0 calories. Hint's 25 flavors include blackberry, coconut, and blueberry lemon. In stores or at hintwater.com. Really excited to start talking about, now that I feel confident that the Padres are not trading away Josh Hader or Blake Snell.
Do you?
Well, Blake said after the game yesterday, I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Okay.
Now, he could be wrong.
Could be.
But he said it with a sense of confidence that leads you to believe that someone has assured him, all right, we're close enough. We're keeping you for the rest of the season. And things could change. Things could change with a loss tonight. Who knows?
It'll be interesting. I think the weekend solidified that they won't be sellers.
But we thought,
does that necessarily mean they're buyers?
We also thought on Friday, I mean, Ben said a sweep either way helps change the narrative, but
I said I thought AJ had his mind
that's
made
what
up
I
going
thought.
into Friday
That's
night.
kind of what I thought too. And I think, enough people around the team have said they wanted to go all in this year. They're still in it. So I think all in is all in. And yeah, I think you have to be comfortable with those guys potentially walking away after the season, those guys being Josh Hader and Blake Snell, and getting nothing more than a pretty poor compensatory pick for when they do. So if you go and make the playoffs and win the World Series, who cares?
ESPN this
but if you
morning
don't,
still puts the odds of Josh Hader or Blake Snell traded about 25%.
Okay.
Which is higher than I would have thought.
Me too.
I believe that right now AJ Preller is shopping. No.
You think so?
I do. I think there is a cautionary note, though, I think we need to add, and we'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Slow ride out of Santee westbound 52. Not helping things much. Got this stalled big rig right before Santo Road. They're trying to move that over to the right shoulder. Fortunately, no other problem spots on our freeways at this time. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but you can join 97.3 The Fan this Friday at AleSmith as we broadcast all day long. Get you ready as Padres take on the Dodgers, celebrate the anniversary of Tony Gwynn's 2,000th and 3,000th hits. It all gets started at 6 a.m. with our show, followed by the coach, John Quintera. And Gwynn and Chris will be giving away tickets to see the Padres, Guns N' Roses, and tickets to SeaWorld. So join us at AleSmith for a day of beer, celebration, and Padres talk coming up this Friday.
And we're going to be joined at 8:35 by Jake Mintz, who probably has a much better handle on what some of these teams have gotten back and are getting back for some of the guys that they're moving. What the Rockies got back for Grichuk and CJ Cron. He went to the Angels. I see all kinds of tweets like, oh my God, what a steal for this team, or oh my God, they didn't get enough for these guys. Honestly, there's really no way to tell. There's no way to tell right now. You have to evaluate it in a few years, but you got to imagine for the best closer in the game, AJ Preller would get a pretty decent haul. But what does that say? That says, well, we're really not going for it, right?
I agree. It would send a terrible message coming off the sweep of the Rangers to make a trade like today and send Josh Hader
before the game, send him to Houston.
You've got really, I mean, if you throw Soto into the mix, which none of us are expecting him to get moved this week,
you got 3 premium.
If you include him, you have the best position player, the best starting pitcher,
and the best closer,
all available. Or not available, but now that Ohtani and Scherzer's been traded, Ohtani's off the market, like it's Preller's playground once again.
It's Preller's playground, but he's sitting at a very, very high stakes poker game.
Well, and here is my word of caution for shopping AJ Preller at the trade deadline. You definitely have some needs, no doubt about it. Yeah. I'd say first and foremost is a left-handed bat that can be used as a designated hitter.
How about that can play first now?
That would help as well.
Now that Ha-Seong Kim could be not only we hope he's back in the lineup soon, but is he going to immediately return to form? That's the tough part.
Or in the outfield as Trent Grisham has started to scuffle again. I think he had a hit yesterday, but it was 1 for 27 going into a slump at a very bad time of the season. A left-handed hitter Unfortunately, I'm looking at the list of kind of names that could be on the market, and there really isn't much in the way of guys that fit that description. I mean, Dylan Carlson of the Cardinals, does that make anyone excited? Dylan Carlson, his numbers are pretty bad this year for St. Louis. I caution, I don't necessarily want to see AJ add a square peg into a round hole again.
Well,
did that with Adam Frazier in 2021.
But there are definite needs, right? But like what you can't do is go out and get Tim Anderson from the White Sox and say, you're gonna play first, or you know what I mean? Like that's the square peg.
What are the biggest needs? Are we as a group? Are we good with Campy and Sanchez the rest of the way?
I think so. I mean,
so you don't really need another right-handed bat.
No, you really
in your
don't.
Lineup.
You
and
don't. You need a
unfortunately,
lefty.
most of the bats that are available right now look to be right-handed guys, and in at least at places where the Padres could play them, there aren't a lot of lefties available out there. So maybe standing pat might be the best option for the Padres.
You can't stand pat.
Absolutely,
no,
you
you cannot. Because what happened yesterday? Matthew Batten comes in the game, gets 3 ABs, can't get a bunt down either time. Ball kicks off his glove. That was either yesterday or Friday. I can't remember which one. That was Friday. Right? You can't stand pat. You have to, if you're going to go for it, you got to improve this team because your bench right now is Batten, Carpenter, Rivas, and Colway was sent down. That's your bench.
Sullivan.
Sullivan. That's your bench. You're not winning a damn thing with that as your bench. No offense to those guys. They're doing their best, but they're not
well,
big.
I mean, there are guys who are possibly available. Right-hander. I mean, you can bring back Tommy Pham, Mark Canha of the Mets.
Yeah.
I like him. Could be available with the Mets doing some selling off right now.
But again,
they're
it's
all
another right-hander.
right-handed bats that it's kind of a bad fit for the Padres lineup right now. And I'm just not sure what out there looks really good for the Padres.
There's bullpen help in Kansas City. There's bullpen help in other places. There are teams looking to wheel and deal. You cannot go if you're really going to go for it. And that's the thing is you got to decide who you are, what you want to do. If you're really going to go for it, you cannot go into the next 58 games or whatever, Ben, with a bench of Batten, Carpenter, Sullivan.
That's not a playoff
and Rivas.
bench.
It's not. It's just not. There's nothing. I mean, again, we needed 2 bunts yesterday, 0 for 2 in those situations from Matt.
All
Batten.
right, so you go. Let's say you make two deals to add bench players, but if Hassan Kim is okay and Juan Soto's fine, how often are you going to even see these guys that you added? You've just traded away prospects for players that may never see the field or the lineup. I mean, you're going to have to play your starters like Bob has pretty much almost every day the rest of the season. And if you get to the playoffs, you know what Bob did last year. The bench doesn't even sniff the field during the playoffs. So
I would like
you're trading away for what? Maybe 7 at bats the rest of the year.
I mean, you don't know that
right now.
You don't know.
If Hassan Kim, goes down, if Juan Soto goes down, you really think the Padres are making a run, even though they picked up some bench depth? I think they're kind of screwed. I don't know that it is worth trading away players just for bench depth on a team that's going to have to rely on their starters very heavily over these last 2 months of the season.
No, I mean, it's a fair point, but like, what are they really going to command? You know what I mean? Granted, they'll command somebody that ends up biting us in the ass in 5 years.
Something very low. It's a possibility. As for adding a starter, everyone would love to have insurance. If the Padres were 5 games ahead, I would say you cannot risk having one of your starters get hurt.
Go get Montgomery or
with
something.
Michael Wacha coming,
he's gone now.
With Michael Wacha about to come back,
legend.
If you pick up a starter, there's a good chance you will never need him if your starters stay healthy, and you will just trade him for someone.
You'll need.
Okay, then if you do, you're probably in trouble anyway. If one of the main pitchers goes down, is a 6th starter really going to save your season at this point? I kind of doubt it.
I think you're adding, as far as the bench goes, it's not more for insurance on Kim or Soto. I want to see somebody. I want to see a viable bench piece coming off the bench for Grisham when he goes 1 for 30 or whatever. For Cronenworth, who's struggling, give me an outfield.
And if that existed,
give me a first baseman.
If there was a left-handed, guy who could play center or could, let Tatis move over or play a corner outfield or play first base with a left-handed bat, I'd be all for it. I do think the Padres need that. Who is it? That's not who.
Seth Brown, Trevor Larnach. These are the names. Heimer. Yeah. Heimer,
He's right-handed third baseman. I mean,
Candelario's left-handed.
He's right-handed.
This is when AJ Preller
right-handed.
zigs when everyone thinks he's going to zag.
I think Candelario's a righty, and I think he plays mostly third base. Now, if he can play some first,
yeah,
I
he
don't
plays
know.
first too.
He can play some first.
He
maybe
bats both.
He does switch.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe Jeimer Candelario. Jeimer.
I don't know.
I don't even know how to say it. He's having a decent season. Maybe that's someone you would target.
He-Man Choi. Some people are talking about. Listen, they're out there. I don't think they're going to cost you a fortune, but I look at that bench and it gives me agita every time I look.
I just see if the Padres are buyers, and I think they are. I think they're very, very minimal buyers.
Sure. Which I'm fine with, but standing
minimal.
pat is not minimal buyers. You cannot stand pat.
The way you're going to get back in this and make the playoffs is through the guys you already have. And I like the message that Bob Melvin sends after the trade deadline. When the Padres do very little or nothing, the message is we have 100% faith in these guys that are here right now. We have always had the faith, and we continue to have the faith. You guys are good enough to take us to the playoffs and win a World Series. We have never wavered in that, and we believe in you, and you have played well lately. We are giving you the opportunity to do that. We don't need bunch of new guys coming in and messing with what we think is a good thing.
I agree. You don't need a complete turnover of the roster, but you do need some help. You do need something. You do. And again, a lot of it's dependent on
but
health.
Don't make it a square peg in a round hole.
No, I agree. I agree with that fully. Adam Frazier, we all have vivid memories of that going, whoa, wow, you just got the best hitter in the National League right now. This doesn't make any sense, but we'll find a spot for him. And it just didn't work. It never worked. So you don't need a complete turnover of the roster at all, but you can't. I just don't think you can stand pat. I do think you still need help in the bullpen, and I think that can be had at a low price. And I think you do need a left-handed bat, and I think that can be had at a low price. It'll be very, very interesting what shakes out over the next, 36 hours. When's the deadline? 1 tomorrow?
3 tomorrow.
3
so
our
we're
time?
going to be on from 2 to 3. So in
Okay.
that last hour
Okay.
before the deadline with our roundtable show tomorrow.
31 hours.
You know what freaked me out yesterday is Bob Melvin in his post game saying, well, we're going to have to get some at bats for Carpenter. Why do you have to get at bats for Carpenter? You got 2 lefties I think you're facing to start. No, I don't really want to see Matt Carpenter swinging it right now for the San Diego Padres. I think it's kind of an auto out these days. So I don't know what you do. I really don't. A splashy move would not surprise me in the slightest. I don't think that's what you do, but it's not going to shock me if AJ Preller does something ridiculous, just ridiculous and mind blowing, right? Somebody we didn't even think about was on the market. I don't know.
All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Just quickly on Friday night's game, 7-1 Padres win over the Rangers. We were both at the game. Joe.
Yep. It was awesome.
Another outstanding start. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts. Got his 10th win after the slow start, the injuries, a couple of not great outings to begin with. I think was he 0-2 or 1-2 or something. Now 10-3 on the season. The funniest moment for me is I'm sitting there, with my son and Shell, and we're watching the game, and Fernando Tatis Jr. strikes out in his first 2 at-bats. And he comes up in his 3rd at-bat, and the first 2 pitches, he flails. And I go, I am literally in the process of saying, what is wrong with Fernando Tatis Jr.? He just looks off crack, and boom, off goes an opposite field line drive home run. I go, never mind. That's the thing with that kid. He is a danger at any moment, no matter how much he looks like he might be scuffling. And he is in a bit of at least a Tatis slump right now. I mean, he is always a danger. He nearly hit a home run yesterday.
Yep.
Again, had roped an absolute clutch RBI single late in the game.
Yep.
Scored from first.
Scored
and
from
he reached
first,
on a
was
fielder's
just
choice.
just
flying around the bases. Fernando Tatis Jr. brings so much value, even when he is scuffling a little bit and swinging at pitches out of the zone. That's why, I think Kim is a little the same way. Brings value even when he's not hitting.
Correct.
And then so when he's hitting and he's on fire like he's been lately, I mean, it just makes him like a special type player right now. And that's what Tatis is. And yeah, he's been scuffling a little bit. I would like to see him get on one of those tears again. Not on that, but he's certainly not hurting the team in any respect by being in a lineup.
Yeah, no question about it. And you want to keep running him out there every single day, along with all these guys. Juan Soto just barreling the ball. Still going to get his walks, but they're really, Manny with a big hit. They're coming together. They really are. You look at that and say that's a very encouraging 3-game sweep against the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately, we've been so conditioned this year to say, great, do it again. Beat these crap teams that they're crap. I mean, the Rockies are a crap team. You have to beat these crap teams.
Fairly good news on Juan Soto. The MRI actually showed improvement. They said it's a inflamed capsule in the finger, but just may not be completely better until he gets the offseason to rest. But nothing that's deteriorating or looks like it needs surgery. He'll just have to kind of manage, and he seems to be managing really well. So you can expect to see a lot of Juan Soto going forward. Now we can worry about Ha-Seong Kim and how quickly he gets back onto the field. That was a fast 2 hours.
It really was.
I'd like to hear from Padres fans about these trade possibilities, what Woods and I both just said in that last segment. You want to join us? 833-288-0973. Come back with more on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Good morning, Juan. Hope you have a great series in Colorado. Ben and Woods halfway home on a Monday.
Juan.
One of my favorite drops of the year. Who impressed you?
Juan.
Yeah, Juan. It's just incredible. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl, is our executive producer. To my left is Benjamin Higgins. We are the triangle in here, triangle offense and defense. That's how we do it here on Ben and Woods on 97.3, the Fan, home of the San Diego Padres. I got a couple of DMs yesterday. I was at the game, and I was down below. I missed the God Bless America in the 7th, and I heard that there was some issues. It happens. It happens. It happens. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
It's not.
It's just
not.
terrifying.
National anthem's not easy either.
Yeah, very
By
tough.
the way, surprised me. John Moore's granddaughter
crushed it.
Crushed it
Crushed it
on
on
Friday.
Friday.
I mean,
Absolutely
what a voice.
crushed
She absolutely. I was thinking, oh no, having our granddaughter sing the
Oh,
national
boy.
anthem. This is going to go really bad, and she was terrific.
Now, they said you should put the girl that did it on Don't Do This. I said absolutely not. That's an active duty military person. I'm not going to do that. That's very, very mean. I figure 12 years is about the statute of limitations. So I was scrolling around Instagram yesterday, and I saw this, and I listened to it, and I thought, oh, well, this is really nice. Nice pipes by this guy. And then you'll hear it get away from him very, very fast. I had never seen it. Paulie says it's 12 years old. I'd never heard it. I'd never seen it. I'd never heard it. No one had ever alluded to it. But I said it to Paulie, and I said, what a great way to bring this on the air on the 8 o'clock as we reset the show.
I have July 3rd, 2011.
Okay, a big weekend. And it looks like this gentleman is at some sort of horse track. Yep. And they have asked this guy, what was his name again?
Gage Charles.
Gage Charles. They asked Gage, Ben, to sing the national anthem. And, well, he starts very strong, and then the words elude him.
By Gage Charles.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars were so gallantly there, as the rockets were there.
Oh, no. Yeah, they were there.
And the twilight's last gleaming, and the rockets' red glare were so gallantly there.
Yes.
The stripes were all there.
Yeah, stripes were there.
And the rockets were there.
Oh, my God.
Oh, say
gotta
does
get this part
that
right.
star-spangled banner yet glaze?
What's that? Glaze?
For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Nailed it. Just everything was there. The rockets were there. The stripes were there. The flag was there. And the bombs were there. Everything.
It's good that there rhymes with there.
There,
You made
yeah.
that, you made that part work.
Stripes were also there. And the bombs were there. The glare was there.
Were so gallantly there. The stripes were all
That's my favorite part. The stripes were all there. And the stars were also there.
And then where did you get the glaze?
The glazed, yes. Yeah, it's tough, dude.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet blaze?
Yet glaze.
For the land of the free.
He's in witness protection
and
somewhere.
the
Like,
home of the
Everyone knows the Carl Lewis anthem where you just can't hit
Carlos.
the notes and it's
hang on.
I
get it. It's just Charlie Steiner playing it on SportsCenter, almost peeing his pants from laughing, remains one of my favorite moments on television. Charlie said, was in tears. Carl Lewis was the worst I've ever heard. Roseanne's was terrible, but Carl Lewis was like trying to do it well. And he was like, hang on, I'll get it. I mean, the commentary but that poor guy, I think you know what got to him? The delay. You hear the delay in the background and you lose your focus on the words. And I mean, I'm not even really making fun, because if somebody put a microphone in my face and told me to do it, I'd probably butcher it too. But holy smokes, I couldn't believe that popped up in my feed 12 years later.
You know, I was sitting at the game Friday. I was actually thinking, is the national anthem the song I've heard more than any other song?
Happy birthday, maybe. Happy birthday, national anthem. You go to a lot of sporting events.
I go to a lot of birthday parties. I go to a lot of sporting events, and it always starts with the national anthem. And it's like, even your favorite music, like, hey, pop in that CD, but I don't listen to it every day. And I hear a national anthem, if not every day, certainly probably a majority of the days of the year. I hear it at least once, or watching it on TV, NBA Finals game, whatever. You see it constantly. It's probably the song I know best, and I've heard the most over the course of my lifetime.
I mean, Tony says it's the national anthem. No one should have to read it. Yeah, dude, it's not. He knows the words, bro.
Oh, say, can you see? And the Rockets, red flag.
Uh-oh.
I'll make up for it now.
Will you?
For the land of the free.
Not going high again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that you don't know the words. It's the fact that there's a microphone, there's a crowd, there's a camera right in your face. It's not that you don't know the words. It's that you absolutely panicked. And then the delay probably in the background of hearing your own, and you just lose your track. And
my favorite anthem of all time has to be, it goes to Fergie, the NBA All-Star game like 6 years ago, where she didn't screw up any of the words really, but she tried to like
make
it sexy.
Yeah.
Was
by the dawn's early light.
my skin's crawling.
What's so bright?
It's not a sexy song.
Marilyn Monroe.
Right. It's not sexy.
The audio doesn't even do it justice, because the cameras were panning to like all the NBA All-Stars.
And they're
sitting there like, dude, Draymond is losing it. LeBron's trying not to laugh. Steph Curry's like chewing on his mouthpiece to stop from laughing.
Just looking down at his shoes.
And it keeps going back to Draymond, and he is dead.
Yeah, it's not a sexy song. It doesn't evoke, sex.
It's about a battle.
It's about a battle and people dying and the whole thing. But yeah, so I felt bad.
Gallantly there, first stripes were all there.
And the stars were all there. It just is too good, dude. Too freaking good.
Gage Charles.
Gage Charles.
Glad you found that.
Yeah, as
good.
am I. I really, really knocked it out of the park.
If you want to join us to talk about what the Padres should or should not do, you can call us 833-288-0973. We'll have Jake Mintz at the bottom of the hour from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Hadn't really talked about some of the other moves that were made this weekend.
The Rangers, man, just going all in.
The Rangers acquiring Max Scherzer from the Mets for Ronald Acuña's brother, Luis Angel Acuña, along with the cash. The Mets going to end up paying, I think. Well, Max Scherzer is opting in next year at another, like 43
mil.
But the Mets are going to end up paying, I think, more than half of what he is owed. So, the Rangers get another starter, and they acquire Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton from the Cardinals. So,
I didn't know they got Stratton, too.
They got both of those, a left-hander and a right-hander from the bullpen and a left-handed starter. So they are now as fortified of a pitching staff, even without Jacob deGrom back.
Who is supposed to come back, right? September-ish, but you just never know. You never know how long you have him for.
The Blue Jays acquired Aaron Hicks. Nasty Aaron Hicks. The Cardinals doing a lot of selling off this weekend.
Well, the Blue Jays, Jordan Romano. Remember the All-Star game? He warmed up to come in, and then they scratched him. He had a tight back or something, and he's been scuffling since he's gotten back. Like he'll go out and throw and then they'll have to pull him out of the game. It's just I think he's getting through that. So they need a back end of the bullpen guy. So Hicks is he's a fireballer.
And then the Angels, who before the weekend acquired Lucas Giolito from the White Sox, went and got CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk from the Rockies yesterday for
Thank you.
a couple of more prospects. I think the Angels, they won yesterday, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Blue Jays over the weekend. And while they're like 4 games out, they have some tough teams that they got to chase down from the AL East to get back into the wild card race, but they're going forth. They're not trading Ohtani. The Cubs also announcing that they won't be trading Cody Bellinger after they've gone on their run. Their 8-game winning streak was snapped yesterday, but they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball to get back above 500 at this point, and they've even passed the Padres and are closer. I think they're only 3 games out of a wild card now. So any sell-off possibilities from the Cubs you were looking at no longer appear to be on the market. People are still talking a little bit about Stroman, but it looks like the Cubs are going to not be sellers and maybe even buyers at this point.
Yeah, there's teams that have taken it in their hands and said, no, we're not going to let you. We're not going to let you sell off pieces. We're going to win ball games. I know it's, for some teams, it's probably too little too late. I don't think the Padres are one of those teams. win as many of these games over the next, you go out and sweep Colorado, Ben. It still looks very, very good. I had somebody tweet me yesterday, oh, man, making up 5 games is going to be tough. And you win the games you should. Some of those teams above you are not going to be able to maintain what they've done. The Padres are in a pretty decent position if they handle business. And that's been the toughest thing this year, is handling business for any length of time. A game or 2 here or there, sure, absolutely. Great to get 3 under our belt now. Let's get 4. Which would be the first time it's happened.
So the Padres, I saw just something on Twitter. There is definitely some possibility of rain today in Colorado, although that's always kind of the case. I think when you're in Denver, 68% at 6 p.m. tonight when first pitch is scheduled with thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms.
This is a thunderstorm.
Thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms. It's a scattered thunderstorm. So that's something to keep in mind. You just worry a little bit if Seth Lugo starts a game and then there's a long rain delay and you've already got a bullpen that's probably a little unavailable because of what you used yesterday. You could put yourself in a tough situation tonight. So a little added level of difficulty for Bob Melvin in this first game of the series today.
I don't know what you would do.
I don't know. And then tomorrow they still haven't announced or determined a starting pitcher. Although I can tell you, some of the guys they brought up, Jackson Wolf pitched over the weekend and actually got lit up. Jay Groom pitched yesterday, so they're not going to call him up. Waldron pitched over the weekend. Looking like if they're calling up anybody, it's going to be Ryan Weathers, who it's kind of alternated good and bad starts in AAA this month. You just have no idea what you're going to get from Ryan Weathers. Otherwise, it's a bullpen day, or unless they trade for someone in the next 24 hours. I don't think Michael Wacha, he's supposed to pitch today at Petco Park, face some live hitters from Lake Elsinore. They're going to come down and take basically, a couple innings of work against Michael Wacha, and then they'll see if he'll be ready to come back in a week or if they need another rehab start for Michael Wacha. But certainly he's not going to start tomorrow.
Dictate how tomorrow goes, or do you think they get a plan in place and stick with it?
That's a good question. If you have to end up using a lot of bullpen today, you certainly don't want to have to go with a bullpen game on Tuesday. So, a little bit of a dicey situation. Now, we said Padres should go with their regular starters on regular rest this weekend. They didn't have to, but they did, and they got that sweep against the Rangers. So now they deal with the fallout against the Colorado Rockies, and they have a little more pitching uncertainty for this series coming up.
Sheesh. Well, listen. This is where you feel so thin, right? This is where you absolutely feel so thin, which is why you were just saying you don't need an extra starter. I think you absolutely do, because this may not be.
You need it tomorrow.
Well, no, but it may not be the first time you run. The next time, the last time you run up against something like this. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know who's ready to call up and eat those innings at that place. Is that
Coors Field?
I do too. Is that the best? Is that the best place for Ryan Weathers to try to get back on his feet, as it were?
I don't know. Weathers, Jackson Wolf, any of those options feels like a punt.
It's tamed way better pitchers than those guys, pitching at Coors Field.
I think he might just need to go with the bullpen day.
Yeah, maybe you do an opener, do a Nick Martinez.
Lugo's giving you 6-7 innings the last couple starts out, right?
I hope tonight.
And then you're looking at Avila, and
it's dicey, bro.
Honeywell. Yeah, it's there's definitely some iffiness now. Who are you facing in that
That's
Rockies
true.
lineup? Got
That's
no idea.
Absolutely true.
AAA guys at best,
Yeah.
really, in that Rockies lineup. All right, let's take a timeout. If you want to get on the phone lines, now's a great time to do it. Take some calls in our
talk
next
trades.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Check traffic, and then be back with more Bennett Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. 833-288-0973. What should the Padres do? Is there anyone you're targeting out there at the trade deadline with the Padres 5 games out in the wild card race right now? Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go to Brandon. Welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hey,
Happy
buddy.
Monday to you all.
Happy Monday. Happy Sweep Monday.
Yeah, I know, man. I was on pins and needles last night watching Hader close that out, but I was confident. It was nice to see us pick up that insurance run in the 8th. It was great to see us shut them out twice in a row, too, especially with that high-power offense.
No doubt.
But, yeah, that Garcia at-bat was definitely getting me, and I'm glad they just pitched around him.
Same.
So and we were able to get that fly out. But I told my son prior to the series, I was like, this is where we're going to do it. We're going to knock out 10 in a row here. This is way out on the limb, of course, but I'm like, we can get the Rangers, we can get the Rockies, and wouldn't it just be the sweetest of sweets to get a 4-game sweep on the Dodgers? But obviously not very likely, but that's the Padre fan in me, just always being hopeful.
I shudder.
I think our main concerns. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I shudder to think at what the depths of my depravity, what I would do to win every single game for the rest of the week and then come back in here Monday. I really shudder to think there's not too much on the table that I wouldn't that I would not do to have that happen and really get to where we all thought this team could be.
I think Brandon brought up an interesting point as to how the Padres handled that 9th inning. Up 5-3.
Yeah.
2 outs, nobody on, and then you go walk double, right? And it's 2nd and 3rd with Adolis Garcia, home run derby participant, hits 25 of them.
Built like a tank,
as
by the
the
way.
go-ahead run. You have kept him quiet all series long. Do you want to tempt fate and pitch to him, or do you want to be very careful and work around him? And they were very careful. They did throw him the one slider that he swung through, but otherwise nothing was really close to the plate. Wonder if that was any carryover from the Phillies series when, they got criticized for leaving Hader against Bryce Harper in that situation. Yep. Now, we both kind of agreed that was the better matchup, lefty-lefty at the time, but you did let the superstar beat you there. You did not let the superstar beat you in this case. In different situations as well with, different batters protecting him. JT Real Muto in the Phillies series, a young guy, Josh Young, in this series, and, got ahead 0-2 and still made him work. Fouled off a couple of pitches and eventually got a fairly deep foul fly ball, but was able to get the job done and end the game. Just kind of interesting, the parallels to that Phillies game a couple of weeks ago.
No question. Brandon, are you still on the line?
Yeah. I was even thinking how they handled Soto when we were playing Pittsburgh, and they were up 3-1, and they didn't even give Soto anything to hit, and they walked in a run because they didn't want to pitch around him, and it ended up proving to be a good idea because
100%.
The next 2 batters got out, and that could have started. You put that game in there in W category. We're on a 5-game winning streak.
Yep.
So you never know about those kinds of things, how they're going to bite you, how it's going to average out. But I think our main trade concerns, definitely a catcher that's going to be hitting. I know Campy can pick up the bat. He can swing it here and there, but I'm just not too comfortable yet, just because he's so young. And Sanchez, I know, can hit for power, but that batting average is definitely, right on the Mendoza line a little bit iffy. And then just a DH, because we're putting 2 catchers out there pretty much every single day trying to fill that DH role because Carpenter has been just so awful this season. I don't know what's up with that guy, but, I think those are our 2 main concerns. I think our infield's pretty solid. Obviously, adding to that pitching, either a starter that we can maybe rent for the rest of the season, or, putting one more strong left arm in that bullpen would definitely help out a lot too. But I don't know. We'll see what kind of magic they are able to whip up in the next couple of days, but I definitely don't think we're selling. We got to buy. We got to invest in this team a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It just needs to be somebody that can fill those little voids that we have so we can put those 3-game winning streaks into 5, into 6.
Yeah.
And really take a hold of this and get into playoff contention. I know it's possible. We just got to do it.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And again, if you look at how they play against good teams, great. They play great against good teams, and they play really poorly against bad teams. We have a bad team on the schedule for the next 3 nights, and I am as nervous of a wreck as I can be about this series in Colorado. I hate when we play there. I loathe it. I hate it every single year. And they're depleted as all get out. I mean, it doesn't set up for the story of the season well at all, because every time a guy comes in with a high ERA, even a guy maybe you've knocked around before like Austin Gomber, Ben, sometimes it feels like they just are able to settle into a groove with some not great at bats early in the game. Maybe you push a run or one or two runs across, and then the foot seems to go off the gas. The killer instinct dissipates. They have to have a killer instinct from the first pitch tonight to the last pitch on Wednesday.
Brandon felt pretty encouraged. And I must say my attitude just over this weekend has changed a little bit. And it isn't only because the Padres swept the Rangers. Padres are 15-9 in the month of July. Pretty decent month. I think we all agree could have been better as well.
Oh, yeah.
Could have been better
Much
than
better.
that the way they've been playing. 15-9 is kind of the minimum of what they could have gotten to. If they continue that pace the rest of the year, just winning 15 out of every 24 games, I think that gets them either to 86 or 87 wins.
Right on the bubble,
which I would have thought might not have been enough a week or two ago. But with the way the other teams have played, all of a sudden, that actually does feel like it might be enough. I mean, you look at the Giants are currently leading the wild card race. If they play 500 the rest of the year, they'd get to 86. Now, someone will probably play above 500, but right now, Giants have been playing below 500 ball since the break. The Brewers, who are a game behind the Giants, have been playing below 500 ball. The Marlins have been playing below 500 ball. The Phillies have been playing below 500. The Diamondbacks have been playing below 500 ball since the break. So one of those teams will have to turn it around just to, get above the 86 or 87 win mark. And I don't know that three of them are going to turn it around. So I think there's a good chance that, 86, 87 now is enough. So if the Padres just keep playing the way they have, and they're going to be facing some of those teams ahead of them as well who have been struggling, so you control some of that. I do think it's right in front of them that they can catch up and make the postseason at this point. I'm more encouraged now than I've been in probably about a month and a half.
Same,
with the Padres playoff chance.
For sure. And that's why these wins against the Rockies the next 3 days are so massively important, because look who's coming to town next. And then that's when your schedule in the month of August gets pretty gnarly. But the good news is you'll have some head-to-heads against some of those teams that you need to take out. So
it's right there.
It's right here.
Right
man.
there.
It's like you're not going to have to, as much as you think you are, you're not going to have to be looking at the scoreboard going, oh God, I hope they lose. It's here. It's
even
right
if you
there.
do that, you'll be able to say, hey, we got them next week.
We got them next week. That's exactly right. But you got to stack. We've been saying it all year long. Stack wins against a massively depleted Colorado Rockies team. Can't win 3 without winning 1. So win tonight, take care of business. The next day is going to be so dicey.
I bet Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue will glad to be catching us in a better mood.
Oh yeah, finally.
As opposed to our usual Monday sour pusses that we are after a tough weekend. Catching us after a sweep will be a little bit of a different conversation. That is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on The Fan is brought to you by balancepro.org. Are you worried about the rising costs of managing your home expenses? Balance can help you decide if a refinance is right for you and help you avoid predatory lending. Call to schedule an appointment at 1-888-456-2227 or visit balancepro.org. All right, we've got Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue waiting on a grand old Monday. That comes up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few things to watch out for. Two-car collision on the Division Street on-ramp to northbound 5 there over the right shoulder. Also watch out for someone changing a tire over the right shoulder, south 805 near the Keene Freeway. And a collision on northbound 125. This is just before the 8th. Those vehicles are in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Feels like we've been hearing for months, Woods, that, with all the teams that'll still be in contention, it's going to be a really boring trade deadline. Not much is going to happen, but honestly, we've already seen plenty of big moves, and there could be more to follow. Joining us right now on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline from Cespedes Family Barbecue, the podcast, the national sensation, Jake Mintz is with us this week here on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Jake.
Hello, gentlemen. I am so happy for you. It is indeed a grand old Monday.
It is.
Vibes.
You look like you're outside barbecuing right now.
It looks like what a scene.
I did. I made some steaks last night on the grill. You know, the trade deadline is a hectic time, so I needed to find some serenity out here in the Ben and Woods woods. Gents, what have I been telling you all year? I said patience is a virtue, okay? And that the Padres, things would turn around. I was right, okay? Things are looking up.
Things are looking up, yes. Three straight for most teams would be just a nice weekend. For the Padres, if we win today, that will be our longest win streak of the year. That will be fantastic. I've got the parade route already planned. We're all ready to go. Yep. But I wanted to ask you this, man. You guys are way more dialed into it's funny when the trade deadline comes, you'll see a Grichuk get moved or a Giolito get moved, and then you'll see the two warring teams, the two warring factions. Oh my God, we got fleeced, or they got fleeced. No one really ever knows, and years down the road, it turns out. But your opinion, your overarching thoughts on what's happened so far, and who's done a good job.
You make a great point about no one knowing anything. So many trade deadline deals are established big league player for mysterious prospect. And this is important in the context of the Max Scherzer deal. Matt's sending Scherzer to the Rangers in exchange for a prospect named Luis Angel Acuna, Ronald's little brother. There are like 12 people in the world who have a real grip of how good this kid is. And yet there are 12,000 people on the internet pretending like they know.
Right.
We don't know. So in a situation like this, when your team trades away or trades for a prospect, read the people who do this for a living, because they're locked in and they're good at it, and they know so much more than we will ever know. But I do love what the Rangers are doing, which is bizarre in the context of them going out and getting pantsed by the Padres over the weekend, but they're going for it, right? They're putting the pedal to the metal. They went out and got Jordan Montgomery and Max Scherzer in the same day, in back-to-back days to solidify their rotation. And you need no better example than to be like, oh, yeah, you need more pitching. Look at how many pitchers the Rangers have acquired over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Eovaldi, DeGrom, John Gray, Jake Odorizzi. They retained Martin Perez for a lot of money. Now Jordan Montgomery, Max Scherzer. I'm definitely forgetting someone. Andrew Heaney, right? Pitchers are crazy volatile. And so they know that. And they're going out and just getting as many as they possibly can.
It's interesting that so much of the action we've seen so far has been concentrated in one division, the AL West, with the Rangers moves, the Angels picking up Giolito, and then yesterday CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk. The Astros have added Kendall Graveman, bullpen piece. Not everybody is going to be happy when the music stops and there's a chair that's not there for one of those teams. I'm afraid for Angels fans that it's going to be them again, even though they're going for it and they kept Ohtani. Are they going to end up regretting not trading Ohtani at the trading deadline, Jake?
No, because there is no tomorrow, my friends, for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. What they are doing is they are Evel Knievel vibes. They're pointing to the ridge across the canyon, and they're taking a nip of whiskey, and they're saying, I can reach that. There's no reason to care about next season. right? The only way they're keeping Ohtani there is if they keep him for the rest of this season. And the only way they're going to be competitive at all in the next 3 years is if they keep Ohtani. And so for me, they didn't really have any other choice. I really don't think they had any other choice. I mean, let me ask you folks about the Juan Soto deal a year later. Like, we're still feeling pretty good about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand we haven't seen James Wood turn into something, whatever, right? There are all these other things that are going to happen. But we feel good about it. I think that keeping the really good player is usually the better move. It's actually not that complicated. And I believe that the Angels had like almost a moral obligation to what I call the baseball scales of justice. I mean, you're going to trade away Shohei Ohtani? Really? You're going to do that? No, you can't do that. So I'm happy that they kept him. I think it's good for the sport. I think it'll be an entertaining last few months for them. And then my last point in how they relate with the Rangers, I did not live through the Cold War, okay? I was born in 1995. I'm a baby. I don't remember that. But if I'm right, there was a bit of an arms race, right? Teams, the U.S., Soviet Union building up against one another. That's what's happening in the trade deadline. It happens every year, right? Because you're not just competing against the other teams in the league. You're competing against the teams that are next to you and around you. And so when the Angels moved early, that motivated the Rangers to move earlier than some of the other teams in the American League, I think.
Yeah, and I was hearing this morning, we're talking to our pal Jake Mentz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. I was listening to DA, the guy that comes on before us this morning, and he disagrees. He thinks you probably should have moved Ohtani, and that's fine. It's an interesting sports radio conversation that can fill an hour if you need it. But what he really liked is what, go figure, the Atlanta Braves have done. He says Alex Anthopoulos is making moves while other GMs are making plans, and that does seem. But he goes, they also, I mean, they scored a ton of runs this weekend. How do you really improve upon greatness? But it's not only that; it's you're taking away options for other teams, which is definitely a move I like if you have the ability, the prospect capital, and things like to do that. The San Diego Padres are in a really interesting position. They do have some prospect capital. I don't know that anyone in this room or in this fan base wants to see a lot of that capital be shipped out the door yet again in another trade deadline to add some fringe or marginal players, Jake. That's the issue with what AJ Preller is looking at right now.
I'm confused for the Padres. Where do you think they need help?
So
besides DH?
DH definitely. I think honestly, man, I think another bullpen piece would be really, really solid. Another, Steven Wilson type. That's every team.
This is the thing, right? Every team could use another starting arm and another bullpen piece, and that's par for the course.
They need a left-handed hitter, Jake.
Yeah, they need a left-handed hitter.
They need a lefty. Matt Carpenter hasn't gotten the job done, whether it's a DH or someone who can play first or the outfield.
They've gone 5 straight games with Campusano and Sanchez
They're
in
both
the lineup
right-handed.
together.
They faced a lot of lefties lately. They're going to have a stretch where they probably have to face 6 righties in a row,
right?
And they're going to be desperate for a left-handed.
But they don't need to go do anything drastic.
No,
that's what's interesting, right? Is we're so used to AJ Preller doing the crazy thing. We're not used to AJ Preller futzing at the margins of a roster to moderately improve it in the month of July. And so I'll be interested to see how he goes about that type of task. But yeah, they can't sell now.
No,
they certainly can't sell now. And I think that's definitely a good thing. The market is so bizarre at this moment because you have the Padres admitting more or less that they're not going to sell. You have the Cubs' recent surge up the standings over the last week. I mean, they're 3.5 back in the wild card. They can't sell Cody Bellinger and Marcus Stroman now. So those are 2 more big names coming off the market. And so I am super interested in the Mets. Will the Mets get rid of Verlander? Because I think they could get a decent amount back for him right now, considering the other names that have been pulled off the market. And then the one guy I'm looking at is Paul Goldschmidt. Okay. With the Cardinals. Goldschmidt is a free agent after the end of next season. He's tailed off a little bit from his NL MVP season last year, but there are just so few hitters on the market, man, that the Cardinals could get a haul back for him, and the type of haul that could put them in a good position to win in 24, not in the distant future.
It's interesting.
And is AJ Preller gonna, go all in for Paul Goldschmidt?
That's an all-in, that's kind of an all-in type scene. And again, we honestly, we need a lefty. I mean, the righties we have are really, really solid, but you're certainly not going to say no to a Paul Goldschmidt unless it costs you, Jackson Merrill or somebody of that ilk. And it would. It
would cost you 2 or 3
I don't
of
see the
your
Padres
best
players
prospects.
Goldschmidt because the Cardinals need pitching. They need arms. They need anyone who can pick up a baseball and throw it past a major league hitter. They have not had that this year, and that's why they have to sell in the first place. So I don't really see the Padres as a great matchup for that.
Jake is with us from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Do you ever shorten that like CFB or anything?
Yeah. CFBBQ.
CFBBQ from CFBBQ.
Or the barbecue.
We get him and Jordan.
I mean, we're CFB LLC.
There you go.
Limited liability corporation. That way you're not risking all of your own money on it. That's very smart. So you mentioned, I thought interesting about AJ Preller building on the margins, and the example that's been brought up, and I hesitate to bring it up because it gives people almost too much hope. But the Atlanta Braves 2 years ago had the exact same record the Padres do now, 51-54 at this point. They improved not with superstars, but they improved on the margins with the moves that they made, and it led to a World Series. Now that's a once in a lifetime kind of deal, what they did. So I don't know that you can duplicate that, but it is probably the best comp for the Padres right now.
2 points. One that I will back you up, and one that I will say you're out of your mind.
Yep.
So that Braves team was pretty hurt in the first half of the year, and they were kind of playing under their potential, which everyone understood and everyone agreed. And so when they didn't go all in at the deadline, it was like, oh, well, there's a lot of meat left on the bone here. And the Padres are that as well, right? I think trying to copy and replicate anything that the current Braves are doing is fruitless because they have unlocked a code here in baseball by keeping their core players around for below market value that allows them to add more money at the fringes without going over the luxury tax. Like, they're just kind of their own math problem that they've solved. I think it is false hope to make that equivalency. However, I do think it is a reminder that even if you don't, like, I think it is totally reasonable for the Padres leadership to say, we have underperformed all season long, and over the rest of the season, we're going to be better than we've been so far. Now, I know that looks stubborn in some ways, but at the same time, I just don't see another option.
Yeah, we got to get it on record now, too. I mean, honestly, like, especially us for what we do here on this radio station and who we are as a show, we got to get it on record now, because what can't happen, Ben, is in 3 months, if the Padres, keep Snell and Hader, we can't sit in here and kick the wall and blame AJ Preller for not selling at the deadline, when in fact we are proponents of, in fact, trying to go out and win a World Series.
I also earlier, Jake, made the stand pat argument for the Padres, saying that it could be inspirational in a way. Hey, we're standing pat, not because we don't believe in you, because we do believe in you. And we've seen what you've been doing, especially lately. We've always had faith in this roster. Now go out and prove us right, what we always believed in you all along for these last 2 months of the season.
I agree with that. I did see the Joe Musgrove quote last week and kind of laugh at it, where he said, we're going to be kicking ourselves if we don't have these guys. I get that, but like, he doesn't get to say that, if that makes sense.
He also said
the week before
if we trade both of those guys, we'll still going to be a really good team. So.
He's like us. He's a Padre fan, and he's just confused. It happens.
Like, I get that. That's the thing with this Padres season. It has been so confusing and confounding, right? Inputs have not matched outputs, right? The visual product on the field has not matched the win column. The stats have not led to runs. It doesn't fulfill what we assume baseball to be. And that is why it is so perplexing. And that is why I really believe that there's no other way to go than to stay the course. Even though I will say on, I believe it was Wednesday afternoon last week, after that awful loss to the Pirates, I texted Jesse Agler and I said, burn it all down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure he agreed at that time. And now he's changed.
That was my moment. I was like, you have to burn it all down. But then, I thought a little bit harder, and I sat with my thoughts, and, I came out the end a more rational person. And that's what I recommend for people.
That game broke a lot of people.
I got a lot of those texts saying that's it. Just clean house, retool, restart, Soto, Snell, everyone, Lugo, Waka, get rid of Ben and Woods, just start fresh.
And this team is 9-4 against the Braves, Rangers, and Rays, and 1-2 No, 2-7 against the Royals and Pirates this year.
Make it make sense, Jake. Make it make sense, buddy. We appreciate you very much. I love the outdoor setting.
I do
gotta
too.
say, I really do.
Bucolic.
Yeah, very bucolic.
You got your horses back there, or what's going on?
You think I ride a horse?
A lot of property there. He must not. He definitely isn't in San Diego. That's for sure. We appreciate you, buddy.
See ya.
Thanks, man. Have a great
Jake
week.
Mintz from CFBBQ LLC, Cespedes Family Barbecue. It is brought to you every Monday by our friends at Grand Old Barbecue. Got the hat on right now. Some of San Diego's. Well, let's see. San Diego's best barbecue. If you like brisket and you're not going to Grand Old Barbecue, you're doing it wrong in North Park, at Flynn Springs, and out at
North
the ballpark.
Park?
North Park. Well, I mean, they have
Yeah,
pork.
they do.
North Park.
North Park.
If you order the pork,
Petco
it's North Pork.
That's just
Petco
the way you
pork,
say
North
park.
Pork. And all guests on Ben and Woods appear
Pork.
on the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan
What is
hotline.
Carlsbad?
Are you okay?
What is happening right now?
Save money the right way.
North Pork and
With
Carlsbad.
Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad.
Good God. What is going on?
Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet. Finding the
I'll
roads.
never-
I've always wanted to have an accent, so I'm just kind of leaning into it.
What accent is that?
I have no idea. It's my own.
Carlsbad.
I want people to say he's got a weird accent. Where's that from?
I will never be able to call it Carlsbad again. Forever.
Carlsbad.
You're amazing. You are amazing. I think the inner alien is starting to poke his or her head out of your body.
Nobody says drunk Ben on the chat. Well, we already established that from earlier this morning.
Just incredible, dude. Probably we need all those. I need
I
Carlsbad.
got
I
a lot
need
of work
North Port.
cut
You got
out
a
for me.
lot of work to do today, man. Holy cow.
Felt
Somebody
like
said, is Ben okay?
It felt like the flubs were getting a little stale last week. Like we haven't had enough new ones lately. So
That is
let's go
amazing.
hard this week on the flubs.
Oh,
It's going to be a
Carlsbad.
long week. We've got the trade deadline show tomorrow. We've got the Ale Smith show on Friday. We got a Dodger series coming up this weekend. We've got what is going to be a stressful series against the Rockies.
It is.
On the road at Coors Field. You know those Coors Field games, how they age you so quickly.
Man.
I mean, it's going to be a long week here. This is going to be a tough one.
I got to dig deep. I mean, we really have to summon it to watch this game tonight. It's going to be. I'm a nervous wreck. I know everybody else is too, but I don't have any fingernails left. I really don't after this weekend series against the Texas Rangers. And luckily, the sweep did come to fruition. But boy, I sure would love to see them, Ben, win this one tonight, make it 4 in a row for the first time ever. Champagne tomorrow if they win 4 in a row. Parade, champagne.
No, because then we'll just want 5.
Well, yeah, of course.
Which
It's
is then
the
we're going to
Rockies.
want 6.
Yeah.
Then we're going to say, hey, beat the Dodgers and make it an even 7.
Yeah, exactly right.
If you miss any flubs, you can always go back on the Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and go back to anything from earlier in the day. Just download the Odyssey app. We spell it AUDACY. Yes, it's not a word, but it's one of those cool made-up corporate words. Sounds like something you listen to. Okay, we got 1 hour left. Ryan will report headlines coming up. And, who are the Padres going to start in tomorrow's game against the Colorado Rockies? We'll discuss it all ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. From Baja to Carlsbad and beyond, we are San Diego's #1 sports station.
Don't forget North Pork.
97.3 The Fan. Welcome back. Final hour on a Monday.
North Pork.
Padres are
Petco Pork.
Got 3 against the Rockies to try to extend their winning streak. Pitching matchup tonight is Seth Lugo against Austin Gomber. 5:40 first pitch, 4:40 pregame show with Sam Levitt. He'll be with us at 9:35, bottom of the hour today. Seth Lugo has been very solid for the Padres. Austin Gomber, the Padres have beaten him twice this year, including most recently at Coors Field, where they scored 7 off him in 4 innings, hit 3 home runs. I think Manny's gone deep off of him. Gary Sanchez has gone deep off of him. Trent Grisham's hit 2 homers off Austin Gomber. It'd be nice to get Trent going again tonight, but you do feel like it's a game where the Padres are going to have to score a bunch of runs too. I mean, not that Seth Lugo is going to be bad, but figure Steven Wilson, Robert Suarez, and Josh Hader are all probably down after being used 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And at least in one of those games, each of them threw a bunch of pitches. So you're going to not have the back end of your bullpen, and it's Coors Field, which anything can happen. So yeah, you want to score a lot of runs tonight if you can against Austin Gomber.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically looking at a bullpen right now, Ben, of Luis Garcia, Tom Cosgrove, the only guys that have not pitched. Martinez had a small workload on Sunday. He did pitch on Friday as well. He's got 31 pitches the last 3 nights, so he'll be available. Hasn't been he's kind of up and down, effective one game, of not so effective the next.
He's I saw someone point out that he's cut. I think it was Tom, who you follow on Twitter. His cutter has been less effective lately. That first pitch cutter, especially.
Not cutting.
I mean, we saw yesterday the Rangers were just teeing off on that first pitch against Nick Martinez, and he's given up first pitch homers and 2 or 3 of his outings. That first pitch has been very dangerous for Nick Martinez.
Who the hell is left? Who else is down in the bullpen? Is Avila,
Cosgrove, Avila,
Garcia,
Honeywell still there, I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
tomorrow's game is a real mystery. Padres have a TBD against Peter Lambert, which means probably a bullpen day for the Colorado Rockies. And so tomorrow could be wild, having no idea. Padres could call up Ryan Weathers. He's the only one who would be on regular kind of rest out of the minor leagues, or they're thinking about a bullpen day as well for tomorrow. Bob Melvin has not tipped his card.
How do you really do a bullpen day if you're going to have to use in Colorado? Like, I mean, look, you're going to have to get Gabe Kapler's done a really, really nice job with the Giants this year in their bullpen days. I watched a little bit the Giants over the weekend, and they've done a good job. They've done a good job managing. I think they're like a 9-3 record when they do one of their bullpen days, and they've got some of the arms to be able to get it done. And it feels like for us, we've got 3 pretty solid arms, and then maybe 3.5. And then after that, it's question mark.
And then Wednesday is Joe Musgrove against Kyle Freeland, who's probably the best starter that the Rockies have left, and has sometimes given the Padres trouble in the past. Joe's been pitching really well, though. That'll be a day game at Coors Field to wrap things up. 12-10 start on Wednesday. So some pitching questions for both teams in this series.
Well, and they have a depleted offense, trading away a bunch of guys, and Charlie Blackmon will not be terrorizing us this trip, as he's on the IL, as is Chris Bryant, has pretty much lived on the IL since he got to Colorado. Traded away Grichuk, traded away Crone. You still got
always a Padre killer. Grichuk has had his moments against the Padres as well.
100%. So honestly, it'd be interesting to see what that lineup looks like when they roll out. Buddy Black rolls out.
I can guarantee you're not going to know some of the people in that lineup. They're going to be mysteries, but that means they're also mysteries to the scouting report. Pitchers have not faced him before.
They're also playing for jobs.
Dicier.
It's certainly dicey. It's certainly dicey.
All right, Sammy Levitt going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Right now, though, all the other stories we've ignored wrapped up into a tight little bow. It's time for Paul.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report. with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah?
All right.
All right.
Righty.
Gentlemen, we'll start off in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers in the news this weekend. Of course, going to see him a lot on Hard Knocks, if you so choose. So we talked last week about the comments made by Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And let me see here. Nathaniel Hackett, he said it was one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL.
He walked it back the next
Said
day,
there were
by
20
the way.
dirty hands
Yeah.
around Russell Wilson's career worst season. Aaron Rodgers didn't like that too much. He said he sat down and spoke. This was yesterday. He said, quote, "It made me feel bad that someone who has accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some easy fall if it doesn't go well for them this year." He said, "I think it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth."
Yeah, he mentioned the Jets. He goes, just watch what the Jets do this year. They're going to be running out. They're on Hard Knocks. They're going to be running out all the pomp and circumstance and all that. He goes, just watch what the Jets do. And yeah, man, I think Aaron took exception to that. Look, this is the beginning of the year. A lot of verbal barbs going back and forth. It's setting the tone for some exciting football.
Gotta set up some bulletin board material for the season.
Set up some comments.
Easy win for Aaron Rodgers to defend his own coach in this situation
No
with
doubt.
a new team. He's already done a lot. They're celebrating in New York. Love what they've seen so far. I will say, calling out the insecurity of Sean Payton, Aaron Rodgers wasn't exactly the picture of security in handling the whole Jordan Love drafted issue in Green Bay.
It's true. It's a good point.
Having a guy behind him be potentially the future quarterback of that franchise didn't scream, "I'm secure in my position as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't care who you draft." Wasn't necessarily the best of relationships after that.
And I don't
Green Bay.
and I don't think that makes it that. I don't think that's that uncommon. You see many quarterbacks upset.
Yes, you do.
That the heir apparent is drafted, even though you know the business. You know that it's going to have to happen.
Tom
at some
Brady
point.
handled it multiple times in his career.
He sure did. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Interesting indeed. See how that plays out on Hard Knocks. Probably next week, I think, is the first episode. Have to keep updated on that. All right, in the NBA, this was interesting. The NBA offseason continues to make headlines. Aaron Goodwin, he is an agent, and he represents Damian Lillard.
Okay.
And I'm reading from ESPN here. It says, in the wake of posturing about Trailblazers star Damian Lillard's desire to play only for the Miami Heat by his agent, the NBA sent a memo to all 30 teams on Friday. And the memo basically said that any player or their agent who makes public or private comments that indicate that the player won't fully perform the services called for under his player contract in the event of a trade will be subject to discipline.
All right,
So
explain this to me like I'm 5.
All right.
Aaron Godwin is basically going around saying if Lillard will only play if he is traded to Miami.
You're getting less than his best. If you trade for anyone else, he's not going to be happy. He's going to be a malcontent. You're not going to want him, so don't even bother. Just let the Miami Heat trade for him.
You can't do that.
Can't do that.
You can't. You do understand why that doesn't work.
Yes. You cannot do that.
You can't just hold everyone hostage to get what you want.
I mean, if you're the Blazers, you're like, we have to do what's best for us and the long-term health of our franchise. I'm sorry. You had a no trade clause. You didn't negotiate. You, Mr. Godwin, you're his agent. You could have negotiated all of this. You didn't. You signed a long-term extension. I don't have a lot of sympathy, for him at all. You made your bed.
Yeah, and I am a proponent of players' rights, and
sure,
too many times, they'll get lifted up and moved somewhere else, and it's not easy. I mean, they get paid well, but that can be a really tough part of the job. Right here at the baseball trading deadline, talking about that uncertainty for players. However, you do have a recourse, and it's called free agency. And
Right.
if you really want to go somewhere, and there's somewhere you want to play, you sign a shorter term deal, and then you go and sign with the team you want to play for.
Can't do it now. He
You
already
can't
signed
do
the
it. He
long,
already
the
did
long
it. So
extension.
he made his decision, signed a long-term deal, and now the Blazers have to get the best deal they can for him. And that won't happen if they can only trade him to one team. And you have to know that if they trade him to another team, that he'll be Damian Lillard on that other team. He can't just say, well, I'm going to tank if you trade me anywhere else. So
yeah, and any other team is like, well, I don't really want to trade. You know,
I mean, he's really already, even with that memo, and even if they never say it again, it's got to already be in the minds of other GMs. Like, do I really want to give up what it's going to take to get Damian Lillard when there's the thought he's going to be really unhappy here and not be, force us to trade him to the Heat at some point. So he's already gotten his point across, memo or not. And I don't think that's good for the NBA.
It's not good for Damian Lillard either. Yeah, for the great career that he's had. It's tough.
All right, and finally, Woodsy sent me this story earlier. Reading about Disturbed, the band Disturbed, and they had some issues over the weekend. This is actually Thursday night last week in Houston, the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion.
Relative of yours?
No.
Okay, glad we got that out of the
Know
way.
any Cynthia's?
Cynthia Woods Mitchell.
So they were doing their final song Inside the Fire, and their pyro setup that they had for the finale actually set off the venue's emergency sprinkler system and poured water all over the stage, all over the band,
all over their gear and everything. And
safety first.
God.
Safety first.
Surprised this doesn't happen more often.
Well, there's got to be an override or something for pyrotechnics at big concerts and stuff. I mean, almost all arenas, I would think, are equipped with, sprinkler systems if they detect a fire. So if you're going to have pyrotechnics, there's got to be a way to override them and manually shut them off if you don't want it to go off. Someone dropped the ball somewhere.
One of the band members said, Houston, we have a problem. Take a close look. This was another first in our career, literally burning the house down. During our encore, we fired off so much pyro fire that it set off the sprinkler system and rained down buckets on top of us for the entire end of the show. This goes down as one of the most memorable shows for us. Plus, destroyed my in-ears and microphone and possibly other gear. What a night.
So, I mean, it's pretty rock and roll at the end to have like water raining down on you as you're trying to play, but not when you don't expect it, I don't think is great for them.
Why can't we get those little tiny headset microphones
that they
the
use?
Superstar singers use when they're on stage. You know how it's just that tiny,
very thin
tiny
wire.
little thin wire, and that's it. We always go like when we go to AleSmith, we'll have these big bulky headsets, and I want that little thin, just little wire.
Ours are pretty
that's right in
good.
front.
They're thinnish,
but the sound quality on those singers is fantastic. Unless they're just lip syncing, and that's just a prop.
Did you guys see Cardi B over the weekend? Did you see this video is going around? She was up on stage, and I thought she was singing. But
This has been a really bad trend developing of people throwing stuff. It happens a lot to the female artists, actually.
It has happened, and you see she's really close. She's kind of walking the edge of the stage. Someone throws it looks like a cup with ice in it, and they kind of flip the ice at Cardi B, and she pulled off and took the microphone.
Don't mess with her.
Throws the mic down, hits the fan. But the track never stops, and it's still her in the background, and you're like, so she doesn't have a microphone. She's no longer moving her lips. Yet I'm hearing her voice right now. Backing tracks is nothing new. It's happened, but it shocks the system to see it. And she throws her microphone, and the track is still going.
Well, that's why nowadays you never hear what was his name? Charles Gage, the national anthem singer.
Yeah.
Because they're all pre-recorded. I mean, you go to a game and we're there early enough, you almost always hear them tested out beforehand, like 2 or 3 hours before.
That's exactly right.
Almost no national anthems are done live anymore. They're always
Whose broad
pre-recorded.
stripes and
This is
bright
probably
stars were so gallantly there, as the rockets were there,
Correct.
and the twilight's last gleaming.
Just panicked. Just full on panic.
I
The Rockets were there.
Now,
The
if they
Stripes were
pre-recorded
there.
that one
He's
and just
good.
played it,
You got a nice
Yeah.
voice.
He does.
Very
Yeah.
nice voice.
Now,
He just soiled himself. It
Disturbed.
happens.
They were playing Inside. What was it? Inside the Fire was the song that they
Ooh, I mean, it
set
kinda
that off.
works.
It worked perfectly, but of course, I had to then go back, and everybody knows Disturbed from Down with the Sickness.
Yeah, Down with the Sickness.
And it was not that long ago. It was about a year and a half ago that we all tried to give our
That's right. I remember that.
Paulie does it pretty good. Do your best.
I'm the worst.
Like he does it. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Ben had no. Ben goes, ah! Do it again.
You want me to do it live
Yeah,
again?
do it again.
Here's how you.
Can I
here's
hear
how
it
you-
again?
it
Can I
sounds.
hear it again? Thank
Yeah.
you. The real-
No, get the real. The
I
real.
want to hear. I want
I
to
have-
hear Disturbed actually doing it, and then I'll try to
I'm gonna have to
duplicate.
find that.
Do that next.
All right. Well, it's a good tease.
Great tease. It's like Taylor.
Also,
He
I
doesn't
would
give his
like to
way.
know when we come back, what's it going to take for you guys to watch the Women's World Cup game tonight with me?
Methamphetamine.
That's coming up after a check of traffic here.
You're watching
on
it?
97.3 The Fan. Might, yeah.
Can you feel that? Can you feel that? I could feel that. Oh, language. Just dropped an S-bomb.
I got it.
Okay.
Come on, Ben.
Where do I jump in? Oh,
right there.
I didn't know he said that at the beginning. Oh, S.
I didn't either.
Oh, S.
Creepy.
All right.
Wow!
Oh, God, it's even worse this
I
time
tried
than
to-
the last time.
I tried to shake it a little more. I couldn't quite. I can't do it. It's just like rolling my heart.
Yeah, the visual on
Very
the
hard.
YouTube stream is to die for.
It's just not easy for me. It's just a tough thing to do. We're not all born with that disturbed gift.
Those words. It's worse this time.
I haven't been practicing. Maybe someone can give me a tip.
Will you
Potty.
will you practice tonight?
I need a tip. I need a.
Here we go.
Maybe if I go slower.
Mm.
Slower, I can sort of separate it a little bit.
The visuals are Johnny says in chat, this is why that guy was a Ben fan. Yes, exactly right. I was at the game Friday. If you missed this story, it laid me out. I was walking up the stairs with Bo, was holding his little sweet hand, and we're walking up to get something. And guy stopped me. Woodsy, I'm a big fan, listen every day. Thank you. Oh, this is Bo. Nice to see you. Great, man. Good to see you. Give him the knuckles and kept walking. The guy right behind him goes, I also listen every day. I'm a Ben fan. And I said, oh, okay. He's like 65. And I think he said, we're Ben fans. I think it was like him and his
We got a
wife.
whole
We're
team.
Ben fans.
I love that he had the cojones to say it right to your face.
Right to my face. I was like, all right.
Did you agree with him? You said, I'm a Ben fan.
I said,
too."
I did. I did say something to that effect. I said, okay, yeah, I am too. It's very weird, though. It's a weird thing to say.
yeah.
People say stuff.
No offense, Paul, but Woods is my favorite cast member on this show.
Well, I mean, you're mine. You're a delight. It's unbelievable. Like you just did that and everything else. But yeah, it's a weird thing to say.
Felt like I was getting the vibes that it's very unlikely that you're going to be watching tonight's World Cup match between Team USA and Portugal as they wrap up group
What time is
play.
that, like 7 o'clock?
Yeah, 6 prime
it's,
time.
It's
6
a
p.m.
midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern start.
No, I can't, dude. I can't.
Can't stay up for that one. See,
No.
they have to play concurrently with the Netherlands and Vietnam, so you don't know how the other teams are doing, what the goal
Right.
differential is going to be. Now, if the U.S. happen to lose today, they could be eliminated. If the Netherlands won and the U.S. lost to Portugal, they'd be out of the tournament. Never before lost in group play. So it's a
Big one.
must win or at least tie. And really, you'd like to win by enough where you get first place in the group and win the goal differential as well. But incredibly important game. And it's interesting. This is such a soccer community, but with all the World Cup games in the past, you've seen all the viewing parties and everything, and that's not really possible at midnight. I know Shelly was telling me last night where she works, the Regal Seagull in Leucadia, a big soccer bar, but they're not allowed to stay open past midnight. A lot of places licenses.
I thought it was 2 a.m.
Some places are 2 a.m., but it depends on what kind of
Where
license
you
you have,
are,
and they're
yeah.
midnight as most of the bars in Encinitas are. So she said the only place that they know that they can go watch the game up there is Mr. Peabody's. They can open until 2, so they're going to have the game on like there. We said you could like 7 Mile Casino. They're open 24/7, but there's not that many places. I think downtown and North Pork will have some
North Pork,
spots that are open until
definitely.
2 a.m. that can watch the game. But yeah, it's a
What
little
about
different tonight.
Carlsbad?
Is there anything?
Not
We're up
sure
in
about
Carlsbad. I think
Carlsbad.
Carlsbad shuts down a little
Yeah, they're a
early.
little
too.
more
Like
of an early
brisket
tip, and you're not going to Grand Ole Barbecue. You're doing it wrong in North Pork, at Flynn Springs, and
Where's
out
North
at the ballpark.
Pork?
North Park. On the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan
What is
hotline.
Carlsbad? What happened to you, man?
Carlsbad.
It's been so long. It's been so long since he's done this.
Hey, but
Just
when
the
we
meltdown.
show up at
Hold
6
on.
a.m. tomorrow,
Remix.
we will be fresh off that game, so we can be reacting to it right away.
How am I going to
tomorrow morning.
react if I didn't see it?
Well, you'll have to get up and watch the highlights.
I watched the first half of the last game, and then I had bath time and all that nonsense. So, no, I can't in good conscience stay up until midnight, watch the game, and then sleep for an hour and then get up and come and do a radio show. That's,
Technically, now your wife gets up early enough.
she
that
could
she'll
watch
be able
the
to
entire
watch
game.
the end of the game.
Oh, the
at
end of the
least
game
when she gets up.
Yeah, she could watch the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could watch second half, and she probably will. She's had it on a bunch over the last week or so. So, no, I can't. I support. Hope you win. Hope I wake up to a nice notification 4-0 win.
But you'll be watching the Padres games from Korea, even if they're like at 3 a.m., right?
Maybe. I doubt it, though. I did it the one year. Well, it was like our first year we started. They played a series over in Japan, and it was Ichiro's last hurrah. And I woke up, but I was also up because I had a colicky child. So I was like, I'm not sleeping anyway. So Bo at that time was rah, 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 rah. And so I was up. I'm like, I might as well watch the game. And then I came into work and had like one of the worst shows ever. So there's just no way. I can't do it. You shouldn't either, to be honest with you, Ben. You shouldn't either. You should go to bed if you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I mean, I think the World Cup way back in like 2005 or 6, we had young kids and they were up in the middle of the night.
So you're up and watching
a U.S. game like at 3 or 4 a.m. or something like that whenever it was played. But yeah, generally the Pacific time zone is a great place to not have to stay up super late to watch games.
I love living.
If you're on the East Coast time zone, you'll get, as Major Garrett, our friend who watches Padres games on the East, especially before the pitch clock, and before they move the start times up, you'd have a 7:10 start, 10:10 on the East Coast. Games were averaging about 3 hours and 20 minutes long. You're lucky if you're in bed by 1:30 in the morning. If you're a Padres fan on the East Coast.
And again, who can sleep after a big win or a devastating loss? Your brain just doesn't stop. So no, my ass will be in bed and watching the end of the Padres game, and I will be dead asleep 30 minutes after it's over. I hope, but there's just no way. But go U.S. women's national team. I'm pulling for you in spirit.
Yeah, we don't want them eliminated.
No, absolutely not.
Maybe there'll be a game that we can actually watch in the future. If they
exactly. That's the hope.
All right, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supplies teaming up with 97.3 The Fan to give one lucky listener the chance to win a luxury suite for 20 people to the upcoming home baseball game on Monday, September 18th versus Colorado. Visit 97.3thefan, sd.com/garden for details to enter to win. It's also a reminder, Padres have multiple series left against the Rockies, against the A's still, teams that have sold, teams that are bad. Now they have some tough games as well, but they've played well against those teams. So they got to take advantage of all of them coming up. We'll talk about it with Sam Levitt, our Padres pre- and post-game show host. He will join us for his regular Monday visit with Ben and Woods to wrap up the weekend. That is coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you a senior and homeowner who's struggling with day-to-day expenses? Balance offers reverse mortgage counseling, a loan that enables you to withdraw a portion of your home's equity for expenses. Learn more and visit BalancePro.org or call 1-888-457-2227. You were telling me that Sam Levitt went up against a Padres legend this weekend.
No, Sammy didn't do a damn thing. He got just catching shrapnel out
Really?
there for just doing a great job.
Okay, well, that's interesting. We will talk with Sammy right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Yeah, guys, we got a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Someone dropped a mattress in lanes north 805 near 43rd. Also, southbound side of the 805, right at the 905 connector. We have reports of a stalled van over to the right shoulder. Looks like somebody may be changing a tire. So take it extra carefully on that transition. That's southbound 805 to eastbound 905. And on the southbound 5 coastline, Delmar Heights Road off ramp, we have reports of a stalled vehicle partially in lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's get out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, where we are joined by the pre- and post-game show host for the team with the longest winning streak in all of baseball right now, at least tied with the Braves and the Royals at 3 in a row. Sam Levitt is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy, good morning.
Good morning, guys. So you know that we've been talking about this nickname. Well, we haven't talked about it in a while, but going back to spring training, Champagne Sammy, right?
Yeah.
So if the Padres win today
Yep.
and get their 4th straight win for the first time this year, I mean, does that call for some sort of champagne?
I'm down
at some level.
I
I'm
suggested it.
I
this
suggested
At
it
least
like
mimosas.
mimosas or something. Yeah, I mean it's been ever elusive, and it's probably the reason. I mean, obviously it's must-win game. They all feel like must-win games right now. But
Maybe we get some of that $8 prosecco from Total Wine
Yeah.
and More I was talking about.
you could do that.
earlier and
You
just
could do that, Sammy.
a little
But
Italian sparkler.
the tone certainly has changed. Changed around us, changed around you. I'm sure probably some of the post-game calls and whatnot, Sammy, for you after a really nice sweep of a really good baseball team, and probably much needed for your mental health as well as ours and our audience as well.
Yeah, I think the tone has very much changed from where they were at the end of the Pittsburgh series. And I felt that this weekend from talking to people around the ballpark, to talking to fans, to interacting with people on the post game, social media, all of it. I felt that change. I mean, I felt like at the end of yesterday, there were a few people that A, wanted, or B, really believed that this team should be selling pieces like Snell and Hader before Tuesday afternoon. And at this point, you know, I think entering the weekend, I was still sort of on the fence, having a belief that this team had a run in them, but also understanding that there was a really pragmatic way of looking at things, and understanding that the wise move may be to sell on a couple of those pieces and get some return back. And I think it's really fascinating when you think about what the Mets have done really this weekend as well, and we can get into that. But you know, for me, I find it very hard to believe after this weekend that this team is moving those pieces based on what we heard yesterday in the clubhouse, based on the fact that it hasn't happened yet, and based on the fact they're 5 games out and they continue to pitch at a very high level. I think I said this to you guys a couple of weeks ago. To me, that's a really, really important part of the idea that they can go on the run that's required. The fact that they have such good starting pitching, and what a job they did this weekend in that department with what Musgrove did on Friday, Darvish on Saturday. Look, Blake Snell, obviously the walks are too high, but the name of the game is not giving up many runs, and he has been excellent at that this season. So, you know, I think from a realistic, you know, I'll put it this way. At the start of the weekend, I would say the idea of not selling guys like Hader and Snell was probably a little bit more of an emotional reasoning than a practical reasoning. But I think you could make the case after the weekend, and it sounds a little crazy because it's just 3 games in a 162-game season, but I think you can make a case right now, the way they played, the fact that they're 5 games out, that emotional reasoning now feels a little bit more practical, and especially with the way the teams ahead of them are playing right now as well. And they have a good opportunity here against the Rockies. I mean, I made a joke yesterday that, all of San Diego was cheering when they found out they wouldn't have to face CJ Cron this week in Colorado. They've got guys on the IL that have heard him in the past. So good opportunity there. And then obviously a big series next weekend against the Dodgers. But this thing is for the taking. It really is. And, I think you guys have echoed a lot of what I think, earlier this morning. And it's really hard to imagine guys like Snell and Hader going at this point. To me, I would be shocked. And I think now the question becomes, okay, so if they're not moving those pieces, what do they do? And that is a really fascinating question, because I think all of us sort of believe it should be at bare minimum stay pat, at most add a bit here and there, maybe a bat, maybe a relief arm, maybe even a starter that eventually you could push a guy like Lugo to the bullpen down the stretch. But, you never know with AJ Preller, right? We've seen it before. I mean, would it totally shock anybody if something comes out of left field, right? And all of a sudden they're acquiring a big time name for something. I mean, it wouldn't shock me based on what we've seen in the past and what he's done over trades and free agency and all of it. So very interesting 48 hours, or sorry, not 48 hours, a little bit more than 24 hours until we find out what exactly they do.
No, I agree. I'm sorry, talking to Sammy Levitt here on Ben and Woods this morning, and amongst the many reasons I would not be a good GM is that I'm not super pragmatic, and I do see people wringing their hands right now, like, oh, AJ, if you don't sell, it's going to be malpractice, and there's honestly no way to tell. We're facing a guy. We're facing a guy tonight that's a really, really good example of that. Nolan Arenado traded from the Rockies, and they attached $50 million, I think, to the deal. But he went to the St. Louis Cardinals. And they got back one of the Cardinals' top pitching prospects in Austin Gomber. Now, he pitches in Colorado. You always got to wonder what his career would have been like had he pitched somewhere else. But they needed pitching. He was a young, hot name for them, and has not done really much. And he's going to keep getting opportunities because why? Because he was traded for Nolan Arenado. So there's always the potential that the guys you get back do absolutely nothing in the show.
Yeah, and that's an important point, and I want to make a point on it with the Mets from this weekend too. But first on like this idea that it would be malpractice not to sell. I just disagree with that. You've got 2 months left. You're 5 games out. You've got a team that I think we all think has the talent, the pitching, everything it would need to go on a sustained run. Okay, even if they didn't really add much. Okay, we've all been waiting for it. I think for the most part, even 100+ games in, we've all believed that the talent, the underlying trends were there, right, for them to be able to go on that run. These seasons are precious when you're investing the type of money this team has in this group. When you have I know this is emotional stuff, like talking about the ballpark sold out and what these fans have done to support this group. But you know what? It's sports. It's not always this practical, like, well, if you can get this for this and get this asset for this player, I don't think it always has to work like that. Like, yeah, what the Angels doing a little bit crazy? Probably. But you know what? They've got a once-in-a-lifetime player right now. They seem to be trying to do their best to get to the postseason with them and maybe try to keep them. And for that, at the end of the day, while maybe it's not the smartest thing in the world in 10 years when we look back, I don't know, in the moment, I get it. I get it.
I get
really
it too.
So,
I do. And Perry Minasian can probably sleep at night knowing he didn't trade Shohei Ohtani for the next Austin Gomber. You know what I mean? Plus a bunch of other guys as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the smartest thing when we look back in 10 years, and we may look back at the end of the season if this team does not end up really going on a sustained run, which may happen. We don't know. And looking back on it and saying, okay, well, you know what? They really should have got something back for Snell and Hader. We'll have that conversation then. Yeah. I just think you're in it enough, especially after this weekend, where, yes, at bare minimum, I think you got to ride this thing out. And here's the other part of it, because I think this season, obviously, the very good comparison has been the New York Mets to this team on the West Coast and the Padres. And the Mets, over the last 3-4 days, have gone in the complete opposite direction. Okay, when they traded David Robertson, I mean, that was them going into sell mode. They got 2 young prospects back, position-playing prospects. They make the Scherzer trade. They get, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother, who's a top prospect. And all those guys they got back could be great. But I'll tell you, I mean, I've been a little bit confused on what they've done. And those guys they got back could be great. But for a team that is desperate for pitching to not get any pitching back, when I assume you're trying to go win a title again next year and you're going to spend a lot of money next year, and this idea that they may trade Verlander, to me, it was very easy for everybody to say oh, Max Scherzer is done. He's cooked. You know what? He just threw 7 scoreless innings the other night. Okay, so he's not the guy you signed to be your ace. But let's view him as a middle of the rotation type of guy. The idea of trading him and then maybe even trading Verlander, who is pitching for you next season? So I don't know. And then to get return back that doesn't include anything close to major league ready pitching, and a couple of the guys are a ways away. The Acuna is closer. He's at AA already. I don't totally understand what they've done. And again, those guys they traded for, in 5 years, we may look back on it and say, wow, remember that Robertson trade, that Scherzer trade, that was amazing, right? I mean, you could have a Fernando Tatis Jr. type player come back in the trade. But, if I'm a fan, I would prefer my team to probably take the approach the Padres are going to take in the next 24 hours and add a little bit, and at the very least stand pat than what the Mets did in the last few days, and give your team a chance. And I don't know. I understand this is not a New York radio station, but look, they've been a good comparison for them all year.
Yeah,
for
they
a number of
absolutely
different
have.
reasons, and I've been a little bit confused with what they've done. At the same time, look, they've got endless money to spend. So, hey, you need pitching. If you need to go, sign 3 starting pitchers in the offseason because you traded Scherzer and Verlander, you can do that. They're in a unique spot, but, it's a very different way of going about it than what the Angels and the Padres did.
Last thing for me, Sammy, fairly good news on Juan Soto's MRI this weekend, and then cautiously optimistic about Ha-Seong Kim's recovery. But how does the status of those 2 guys in your mind change the equation? If they feel like Kim's going to be out for longer than expected, you get more aggressive, or do you get less aggressive going, hey, let's not even put more resources in? Now we know one of our table setters, the guy who's really been driving this recent run, might be out for a while. Which way do you go if the news is bad?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think first, just quickly on Soto, I mean, I don't, it's funny. I have an injury report every day, right? I have not put his finger MRI into that injury report every day, because until he or Bob Melvin says that it's a real big issue, now it's an issue enough where he went to get the MRI, but we have not received indication that it's something that is going to keep him out for some amount of time this season. He missed that 1 game the other day, didn't start the 1 game, but it seems like something they wanted to get a handle on, what was going on, but is something that's not going to keep him out throughout the rest of this season, which is good. So it still seems like that's something that's not all that pressing or serious, even though, yes, when he takes a swing and then he has to get seen by the trainer and has to get, take a minute. Yeah, it doesn't look great. It doesn't make you feel great. With Kim, I guess we'll see today. I mean, I thought the news yesterday after the game was probably as good as you could have hoped. You didn't hear the word dislocation, anything like that, which I think we all feared as he's walking off the field holding his shoulder. I'm with you, Ben. I think, if he's going to be out, and who knows, for an extended period of time, and what is extended? Is that a week? Is that 2 weeks? Is that more? I would think it would make you, if you are going to add on to this roster, would make you more aggressive to maybe go and get another bat, and a bat that could DH and or play first base, or then Jay Cronenworth could play second base for a little bit. I would think, and you guys had the conversation earlier, because you could just stand pat and not really do anything and say, hey guys, we believe in you, go get them. But I think there's a strong argument to be made that if you're not going to sell the pieces, that standing pat is also not totally an option, because it's then like, okay, if we're going for it, let's get a little help at bare minimum. At the same time, and look, I would really like to see the Padres hold on to these top prospects like a Merrill, like a Dylan Lesko, like, an Iriarte in the minor leagues. I mean, a number of the guys, some of the young hitters that have done well. Like, I would hope that Ethan Salas is untouchable. So, yeah, I mean, I think back to the Kim part of it, if he's out for an amount of time, I would think that makes you a little bit more aggressive, but I would just love to see it be cautious aggressiveness and a piece here or there, because I really don't have a problem with the most part saying to this group, okay, we didn't move Snell, we didn't move Hader, we believe in this group, we'll give you a reliever, maybe we'll give you a bat that doesn't cost much, go get them, let's see if we can go do this thing. I don't have a problem with that, but I do want this farm system to start having some stability and these guys start getting to the major leagues, because I think when you talk about the long-term success of this organization, they need those guys to develop and contribute at the major league level like some other teams have done. And we see those teams having sustained success now for a number of years.
Sammy Levitt will be back in 6 hours and 45 minutes with another Padres pregame show at 4:40 this afternoon. Sam, thank you very much.
Don't forget about the trade deadline special.
Yes, tomorrow we'll all be together at 2 o'clock. Looking forward to seeing you.
That's
yeah, man.
right.
Thank you. Sam Levitt
All right.
on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I just want to wrap up today by saying this. What did the Padres do this weekend? They did
They swept the
something
Texas
that
Rangers.
felt amazing. But what they did is they got 3 good pitching performances by their 3 good starters, and then they turned them into wins. It shouldn't be that jaw-dropping when they do that.
That's surprising.
They've been getting good pitching all year long. They just haven't turned it into wins often enough. Too many quality starts that went for nothing. This weekend, they got 3 really good starts, and we're almost amazed that they turned into 3 victories. In other places, when you get 3 good starts like that,
you win.
They just expect wins all the time. It shouldn't be that amazing. That's all the Padres really need to do going forward.
That's it.
They keep getting good, solid starting pitching and then turning that into a win, which you should be doing most of the time. Padres could be just fine. That's all they did this weekend. That's all they did.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they scored runs when they needed to score runs.
But then it wasn't like an explosive offensive thing. They just scored enough to turn good pitching into wins. It's the simplest formula in baseball. It's like all time of baseball. That's it. Get a great starting pitching performance, score a few runs,
win the game. Play good enough
Why
defense.
has it been so hard for the Padres this year? I've got no idea why it's been so hard.
Been so hard for Blake Snell to go after a nubber in front of the mound? That's 2 starts in a row where he's like, yeah. Well, he
didn't
skipped
go for
one and then he threw one.
He threw the other one away.
Why can't our pitchers throw to first base? Something I'm going to be watching
Blake
tonight.
And Tim Hill, stop hanging out together during PFP. It's not going well for you guys right now.
Holy smoke. I almost vomited in my hands yesterday. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Clean it up. Clean it up. Go beat Colorado tonight. You have no excuses.
All right. Apologize for all the flubs. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night for some reason.
Never apologize.
Never.
Good Monday show. Otherwise, we will be back tomorrow. Double duty tomorrow. The show at 6 a.m. The trade deadline special at 2 p.m. For Paul Reinl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Coach Braden coming up next right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.